exciting to be here. Yeah. Yeah, I went to one of the parks.
All right. Good. Welcome everyone to the first in-person hybrid meeting and the July 2023 meeting of Manhattan Community Board of One's Land Use, Zoning, and Economic Development Committee. I'm Patrick Cannell, Chair of the committee, along with my co-chair Laura Starr, who's here in person with us, and CB1 Chair Tammy Meltzer over here to my left, and we have Onej and Megan here as well from our CB1 office helping us out. Pretty packed agenda tonight. 15 Cliff Street has been postponed until September. So we got a little bit of a reprieve, but we still have a couple of other bigger items. So let's get rolling. First item on our agenda is Liberty Cruises.
We have handouts, but I think you have our presentation.
Yeah, let's pull this up.
Happy to.
And just to orient the members, this is a proposal for temporary ticketing kiosk by Liberty Cruises on Fulton Street and historic South Street in Seaport District.
If anybody wants to.
I must correct you, historic district.
It's a historic South Street.
Hi, my name is Hudson. I know I'm the president.
Great. Well, just have you stand up. The owl here, just for everybody in the room. So I want to go quickly with everything, but I want to be mindful of all the tech stuff too. So the owl in the middle of the room is folks who are online and our recording. All of our meetings are recorded, so be aware of that. It's a public meeting, everything's being recorded. And this owl picks up everything. So if Roger and Michael are whispering down at the end, what a great proposal they just heard, then we might pick that conversation up about everybody.
Okay.
With that, turn it over to you.
Should I sit here or?
Whatever makes you more comfortable.
So my name is Yasser Stadionov. I'm the president of Liberty Cruise as well as Top View and the Factor Class. And we are interested in getting a couple of kiosks also right around the South Sea Seaport. We do own and operate a fleet of vessels. And we offer a variety of different cruises that depart from Manhattan. We do whale watching cruises. We offer dinner and brunch cruises. We do offer a cruise that goes around the Statue of Liberty, Liberty Island. We do also offer cruises like, for example, kids cruises with Halloween kids cruises. We offer folk cruises, and we differentiate ourselves from other operators in the harbor by offering a variety of different cruises and not just going around the Statue of Liberty. In addition to the cruises that we offer, we also own and operate a fleet of double-decker buses, and we've been doing that for about 10 years. We run a few different routes in Manhattan and in Brooklyn. We, as a third service, we get these owned and operated services that we offer and package them with different museums and attractions and observatories around the city of New York. So a user will buy one ticket and get access to all of these different activities and tours and attractions. So we plan to, if this project goes ahead and is approved, we plan to sell all of these tickets at the kiosk. The activity at the kiosk will be restricted to only in the kiosk. So there'll be 2 employees in the kiosk, selling tickets to anybody who's interested. We are at the moment in great time negotiating an agreement with the South Sea Seaport Museum, who has reached out to us to be part of our attraction class, the only attraction class. So we are finalizing that at the moment. And we believe that we can bring a lot of tourists to that area, as well as be able to make our services more accessible, but by selling through those kiosks to anyone who's interested.
I'm not sure when you want to change slides.
Well, I went through pretty much the whole, it's not much, I mean, it's really,
Can you focus on the design?
okay, sure, that's next one.
Yeah.
So, it's a 7-foot kiosk, in sort of in diameter, even though it's not round, but in diameter, it's 7 feet. And we plan to have 2 individuals within the kiosk. The kiosk is, locally mobile. You can put it away in a matter of minutes, and we plan to remove it every night and bring it out every day, every morning, basically. So it's not anything. It's very temporary.
What material is it?
What? What material? It's I'm not sure exactly what the material is. It's basically aluminum framing, and that is just the fabric. So it's aluminum framing and fabric.
So let's let him get through to the end of his presentation, then I'll go around and recognize folks in the room in order and then online in order.
As you can see here, we have a price list. There was some brochures, some pamphlets, some literature about the service that we offer. Everybody will be uniformed, wearing a uniform. There will be an employee of our company, and just a sales kiosk, and the information. And if anybody is interested in our products or wants to learn more about that, we'll be there to help them out.
And this will be as a concessionaire of EDC, correct?
Yes, correct.
So for the committee members, EDC has asked us to weigh in on this and give our thoughts. It's not a formal application, clock ticking necessarily, but it's something that EDC has asked us to look into. Sorry to interrupt.
No problem. If we have no more questions, we can move on to the next slide.
Next item, next slide.
So again, I want to emphasize that we are the activity. I know that there's a lot of homes sales, Battery Park and elsewhere, but this specific project, the sales activity is restricted only in the kiosk. There's nobody else wandering around or anything of that nature happen. So that's how that's going to go. We've been working with the community boards 3, 4, 5, and 11 in terms of planning bus stops in the past 10 or so years. And for the most part, we are in a very good relation with this board. Local individuals will be staffing the kiosk and managing the project. We expect between 15 to 20 new jobs to be created by opening the 2 kiosks. So that's something to note. And that's all I have.
Okay, we're going to go around the room, and the runner in the back is patiently had his hand up, so I'm going to recognize him first.
Yeah, I'm old fashioned, I mean,
I guess.
so I see one picture of your kiosk on the corner of Fulton Street, on Fulton Street. And I see another picture in the middle on the cobblestone. Where will it be?
We propose to have 2 of them, both of them.
Yeah, no, one's on Pier 16, I have no problem with it. But the one on Fulton Street, I'm trying to find out what the place is. Where it be, on the corner of Fulton or in the middle of the street?
EDC has told me it was on the cobblestone.
Okay, if it's on the cobblestone, okay, but not on the corner.
Yeah. It's not going to be on the floor.
Rosa, then Michael.
Why do you need 2 right across the street from each other?
Mainly because it's just, there's traffic on both sides, and it makes it easier if you just kind of go down. It's more accessible. It is a small kiosk. They're not that visible. Many individuals walking across the street, you just not going to see it, probably. Yeah. So we felt that if they are on both sides, we'll just be getting more exposure.
Let's talk about Smile. Michael?
A couple of questions. Are you paying any rent?
Well, that's to be, we kind of negotiated with EDC. We intend to do that. But there's nothing,
Have you negotiated a rent with EDC?
no, not yet.
So this is.
Yeah.
And is this part of the concession agreement where all the rent goes to the museum?
Well, we negotiated with EDC, not with the museum.
Are
So,
you aware of the deal that EDC made with the museum on all the concessions?
no, they have not, well, they have not discussed with us.
We've not discussed terms with EDC, they asked us to come to the community.
But EDC came to us a while ago and created this whole concession program, and you're not aware of it.
So they'd have to apply, they pass it.
So have you applied yet? Can we see the application?
We have not applied.
So again, I'm just trying to frame this. I think EDC has asked them to come to us very early in the process before we even get their application under that program in place to say, what do you think, Steve? Is this the kind of thing you'd want to see there?
Because we're wondering how much of a contribution you'll be making to the museum.
Yeah, and
We have not set up on the map. We don't have a set map.
And have you spoken with Howard Hughes about this project?
Well, Howard Hughes and the Downtown Alliance reached out to us a couple months ago and specifically wanted us to get a bus stop in the area and bring more individuals there. And we are in the process of discussing this project with them as well.
So you don't have any feedback from Howard Hughes on this? Because you're going on into Howard Hughes's Fulton Plaza, I think they call it, where they're supposed to have a stage and a performance center on the east side of South Street.
I did not get the specific feedback for this specific location. But as I said, it was them that reached out to us to try to work on projects that can bring more visitors to that area.
I think that would be helpful because it would impede some of the programming that Howard Hughes wanted to do in that area.
Okay.
They'd run concerts in that area with seating. And so that might be a difficult. Have you considered putting it underneath the FDR Drive?
But yes, we have. We can, yeah.
And would that displace some of the peddlers that are there?
I'm sorry?
Would that displace some of the peddlers that were under the FDR Drive?
Again, it's a very small kiosk. I don't think this will have any meaningful impact on anybody.
You're aware that there are peddlers under the FDR Drive immediately west of the location.
Peddlers, I mean, there's probably peddlers everywhere. I'm not sure.
They're selling T-shirts and hats and whatever.
Right.
Well, they're not supposed to be there.
Well, I mean, yeah. Hey, what's that?
I'm trying to suggest to you that that place made a history. And we need to learn that history quickly if you're going to be situated there. There's also a complicated history about the cobblestones on the west side of South Street. And the views that everybody wants to have down Fulton Street without anything there. Howard Hughes has now put a garden bar in the middle of it where you can't see the ships. And that's something the community board was not happy about. And so there was at one point a rule that you couldn't put any kind of a commercial concession in that area. And then finally, the fire department has certain rules about access. Have you checked with them about putting a kiosk there?
We have not checked the fire department.
Okay, I'm just making some suggestions to you because it sounds like even though it's early in the process, there's a lot to learn.
these are all helpful. And
Yeah.
again, the kiosk is incredibly mobile, so this feedback.
There
on
might
the
be a
exact
better location for it.
Yeah, I think that's exactly why EDC asked us to come here tonight to get this type of feedback.
Thank you.
Laura?
Is there no, like master plan for stuff like this that clutters up the streetscape in a historic district? I'm kind of shocked, actually. It's like, there's been so much energy put into the paving and conserving, restoring the architecture and what can go there. And then to see this, thing of advertising dropped in the middle of a historic street is really jarring. I think it doesn't work with the historic district. It's like, I don't think it's appropriate is one thing. And then I have other questions. How much does it weigh? Like, is it gonna blow away? Like, how lightweight is it? It's very windy there.
Yeah, it's not gonna go away.
Okay. Well, I mean,
It's an outdoor kiosk. Considering that it could be windy, it's not gonna go away.
I mean, my feeling is that there has to be some kind of a system for putting kiosks and things in a historic district, and it has to fit architecturally. Otherwise, it's gonna just be clutter, and then, you know what? It starts to lose its appeal for tourists when it becomes cluttered up. It's actually counterproductive.
I mean, we could change the design,
Well, to Michael's point, I mean, I think we want the street open there. We want to be able to see the views of the harbor and celebrate the history of the location. So one, I think it needs a different design. And two, if you are able to have it somehow, it needs a different location. And three, I'm not sure why you can't just sell the tickets online.
believe it or not everybody buys tickets online. I mean, there's just a lot of individuals who want to be able to buy tickets, not online, like, or walking, social, retail, vacation.
Well, then, I don't know, maybe maybe, you should work with an architect or something to have something that is tasteful, that goes with the historic district.
We're open to suggestions and we can definitely, changing the outside of the design. I mean, even the whole, kiosk.
The design, the location, the graphics.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, we do believe that, and this location will be advertised on our websites. So someone who doesn't want to, for some reason, there's a lot of visitors who come from outside of the US and believe it or not, they don't trust buying tickets online, but they may see the kiosk address and go and buy from the kiosk right then and there. So that's something to consider as well.
I mean, it's too bad there's not like a tourist bureau or something here where you could buy tickets like you would in Europe. You would go in and you could get the ticket for this and the ticket for that. I mean, are there other tickets being sold? I don't know. It seems like it'd be better to aggregate the tickets, like we're trying to get rid of street clutter. That's just my opinion. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
quiet now.
Yeah, Joe, I saw your hand up, but just to build on that, I agree. I think one, it's inviting that ticket hopper war that we saw in the Battery not too long ago, which is somewhat, it's less than it was, but it's still certainly there. And for me, and this is a giant advertising igloo plopped down in the middle of a historic district. And it's not even, with all due respect, it's not bringing tourists here to do work on community district one. Your boats are leaving out of another community or community district at Pier 36 or something else. So, sorry, I'll turn it over, but it seems like it's tough to say that we're drawing tourism into the Seaport district when it's really just to sell a couple of tickets for people using boats elsewhere.
I'm just going to piggyback on what you're saying. My questions were going to be, first off, how are you selling tickets currently if you're not engaging directly with pedestrians? Where do the sales come from currently?
We do sell, all the tickets for our cruises are 100% sold online.
Okay. And then the second thing would be, these are cruises, your Liberty cruises. Where do the cruises go?
As I said, various cruises, they depart from Pier 36, there's a sightseeing cruise that goes around the Statue of Liberty. There's a dinner and brunch cruise, they go all the way up to 42nd Street and the West End Hudson River. There are various cruises. There's a whale watching cruise that goes out to the open ocean. So it's various cruises.
So like, I'm just. Yeah, Pier 11, and you can go there inside and purchase tickets there. Is there not a window available to other cruises or?
Pier 11 or?
Yeah, the Pier 11 or possibly,
They pay rent. They're a
They pay
private-
rent,
They're
right.
a private operator, they
Yeah.
pay rent.
for having mobile kiosks, around the city. And in the other community board districts, do you have other kiosks there as well?
No, we do not. So we want to test and see how this works. We know that there are other companies who sell things on they sell to their illegal unlicensed meat sellers in Battery Park, for example, and elsewhere. And just wanted to have this project in mind. It would generate revenue, and it could be in a very organized way, done in a very organized way.
Yeah, where we saw anything like this was a retail one for TKTS, right? Selling tickets for Broadway shows. That didn't ultimately work out, but that's very different to me. Very different.
And they were
kiosks around town that aren't being used, like the old newspaper kiosks.
Yeah.
That's all.
So, Marianne, I do see your hand up online, but I'm going to defer to Tammy. And again,
So you, just clarification, one, you employ no third-party ticket sellers at all for either your buses or the boats that you operate, correct?
For the buses, we do. Not the boats.
So your company is part of the third-party ticket sellers that exist at the Battery.
No,
Where do your third-party ticket sellers exist for your buses?
Passport, mostly.
Only?
Yep.
And the only boats you have leave out of Pier 36.
Correct. We,
That's okay. So here's my problem as a chair of community boards one.
Okay.
Right? We have boats on Pier 11, Pier 15, Pier 16, Pier 17, around the Battery, here at Brookfield, that are all revenue generating and doing business with tourists within Community Board One. This kiosk specifically is designed to attract people to take them out of Community Board One and send them to Community Board Three to get on your boats. So even if you put a bus stop somewhere in the seaport, you are selling tickets to somebody to hop on a bus that would take them up to Pier 36 to get on one of your boats and around wherever else they go. So my perspective is, as this is the economic development, is that the economic development you get from a proposal like this is immense because this is the Seaport District and there are people there, but it will actually adversely affect the existing retailers we have. Because you will be siphoning off potentially people from getting on the historic boats or people going to Pier 11 and other locations. If people are wanting to go to a specific, like, for example, whale watching, they would go off where you are. But I look at it as this potentially would drain revenue out of Community Board One. Potentially companies that we already have that are paying an enormous amount to be at Pier 15, 16, 17, and others around.
On board, they monopolizing all piers.
I understand what you're saying, but you know what, there's an RFP process and there's rental space and whoever you negotiate, if they have the bigger buying power, that, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but it's not, you're in CB3. I can't with conscience as looking to protect businesses who already operate here, who are somewhat struggling, to be able to say, let's take tourists out of Community Board One and send them up to Community Board Three. Because essentially, although you have a great product, as the board has said, those aren't aesthetically adding anything. It's a historic seaport district. And if I was one, especially that one that you're showing on Pier 16, I agree with what Joe and everybody else has said. There's no way that's going to end up there because that's Howard Hughes property. And you're not on the Howard Hughes Pier, nor part of the Seaport Museum to be able to get there. When EDC talked to us, it was only for the cobblestone area. And that was it. And even in the cobblestone area, I don't see the benefit to Community Board 1 in saying that this is a great ad for our community. Because it doesn't add financial impetus, it actually improves it.
So, as I mentioned, can you respond to the room? Oh, sorry. As I mentioned, they're selling tickets not just for their cruises, but for buses and the attraction pass, which, don't have, again, mentioned, they are in conversations with Seaport Museum about adding to the attraction pass. Those are, it's a little bit more of an ecosystem, so it is a little different that's being offered than because it's not just.
Just introduce yourself for the record. I know you're Ashley, but
Ashley Thompson,
We've had some parents raised online.
Okay.
My answer, just Caponino to return is, if this was supporting Community Board 1 businesses in any stroke or fashion, before you asked for this, if the museum was included, if you had already opined for a bus stop that brought people into the neighborhood, I think the conversation could be a little bit different. But for me,
just for the rest of the meeting, if whoever is speaking, if you can raise your pitch a little bit so that the microphone can pick you up. The folks who are remote are having a bit of a trouble hearing us.
great. Our participants,
We have Marianne. I know Marianne had her hand up. Marianne,
Yes.
pose your question.
Hi, my questions were answered, but I just want to add a bit of.
hang on one second, Marianne. We have to raise the audio in the room. Give us 1 second. Thanks for
Okay.
bearing with us.
Go ahead, Marianne.
Thank you. My questions were answered.
Hang on.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry? I'm not, are you hearing me? Testing, testing,
Try that again.
testing.
Hear you.
Okay, so my questions were answered, but I have a point of information I'd like to add. There was mention about placement underneath the,
Marianne, we can't hear you yet, so just give us a second.
no problem.
Make sure you've got the speaker set as owl.
showing up. Even though the video's connected, it's not there. The video is not currently connected.
Nope.
Owls muted too. It's our committee's first time.
His first time doing this, so
Bear with us.
bear with us.
Figuring it out.
Figuring it out.
The owl is winking.
I was winking at me, so I know it hears me.
Huh? No?
Oh, no, maybe that's.
She's not on either.
Here.
But you should be able to see the video. Oh, there she goes. All right.
But hold on. Audio is.
settings.
Yep.
Okay, let's try that again. Again?
Okay, are you able to hear? Are you able to hear?
Yes, one, okay, go ahead, Marianne.
Okay, my questions were answered, but I want to add some information. In the area by Pier 16, underneath the FDR Drive, there are bicycle paths to the north and the south that end. And so there's a very subtle marking for bicycles to continue underneath the FDR Drive there. But it's a pretty chaotic area with the vendors and other activities, people crossing over. So just to keep that in mind, there's, in addition to pedestrians and vendors, there are bicycles. And that is all.
Hi, this is Peter Ebright. I was just unmuted. Is it my turn to ask a question?
Can you hear me, Peter?
I sure can.
It seems like they went very quiet. I didn't hear any reaction after I spoke. So there may be a problem in the room that they're in, the room where it happens.
Marianne, we hear you. If you can be on mute.
That's good. And can you hear Peter? Because he's trying to speak.
Faintly.
We can. He's just very quiet.
Community Board 1, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I have a few questions that were to some extent answered since the time I raised my hand, but I might as well go ahead and ask them in case they can be answered with any more specificity. So there are three. I might as well just ask them all at once and then go ahead and answer them as you see fit. One, did Liberty Cruises approach EDC about this, or was it the other way around? Which agency would issue a permit for this? And were the specific locations depicted in the presentation already discussed with EDC?
So it's the locations have been discussed with the EDC.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing.
Speak to words. Everybody just speak to words that are out.
So we have discussed, Liberty Cruise has discussed with the EDC the two proposed locations. The second question was which agency, I believe it would be the EDC issuing the permit. And can you remind me the first question?
Whether you approached EDC or they approached.
Yes. We did approach the EDC.
Okay, Peter, thank you. Any other questions in the room, committee members? All right, hearing none. Does not sound like there's an overwhelming groundswell support for this application. Jetta, I'm sorry, you do have your hand up. You got it there. Before we move on to the resolution, I'll recognize Jetta.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that I do support a kiosk in that sometimes I want to give people the choice to not always have to go online. Sometimes that would be their choice method of purchasing. And even if it is business in another community board district, it's supporting the overall economic health of the city. And it's supporting like reciprocal business that I think can translate to the health of both community board areas. Thank you.
Thanks, Jetta. Colin?
You're going as the current, I'm also in support of this. I'm not sure if people have seen that pier lately, but there's a dog park there, there's a bar there, there's a club there. It's not exactly pristine, historical. I'm always in favor of businesses trying to help themselves and find customers when they can. Going against the current here, but I would support this resolution.
I have a question. Did you take a look at renting space? TKTS did not return to community board, to the location in the Seaport area, so that's an area that's a storefront that could have been rented.
No, we have not. Actually, I mean, we've looked at that pre-COVID, not post-COVID, and we believe that this is a much better way to get exposure than just the storefront.
All right, how are we feeling about a resolution? This is now for the committee members' consideration. No formality, just, what do you guys think? I know what Alan is.
Daddy's better hand up again.
All right, Daddy, your hand is still up, or did you raise it again?
Hold on.
Nope, she's down, okay. Okay, just for the Land Use Zoning and Economic Development Committee members in the room and online, how are we feeling about a resolution? Even though the folks online can't vote on the resolution. They can? Room. Okay, this is so confusing to me. Since we have four in the room, those who are online, their votes count. All right. Are we feeling negative resolution?
I am.
I am.
I think it's outrageous that they're taking business away from community board and going uptown.
Okay, so what would our resolution, is there any way for them to fix this? Colin?
I don't think it
Seeing the
belongs
writing on the wall, I wonder if the applicants would come back with different ideas before they go on the record as having been turned down.
Yes.
Yeah, we're open to do that.
We could also do a no unless and put the unless.
Oh, yeah. And the unless being,
This, we said historically appropriate. They went through the SCRC. You have an opportunity to opine at that point during the formal process. Right, well, let's say, not historically appropriate, not well cited,
Well, also cluttering the street.
cluttering the street.
I mean, like, what I was saying is like, why can't it be integrated into one of the buildings, like the museum shop or something? Why does it have?
That's a good idea.
He said he didn't want to do a storefront. Or, but we can put that in, that they should consider a storefront.
Okay, the relationship with the museum, why not use the pilot house that's already on the pier?
Yeah.
That's good.
Work with the museums.
And what's the financial relationship?
We
Right.
need a financial relationship that favors down here. Regime,
Yeah.
That supports the historic important.
very important.
Anybody else have anything else they want to add? Colin, things to be able to make it a, when they return, that they should come with.
I'm in support of the application, but I think to make it easier for others, if there's a way you can find some sort of reciprocal relationship with local businesses, that might be favorable. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think it's that invasive at all, but
I think there are a lot of kiosks around there on Pier 17, and they're designed in a way to fit within that pier and what goes around them. For me, it looks like, as Laura was saying, it looks like all the other stuff that's around it, and there's nothing differentiating it. The people who are under FDR selling hats and I Love New York t-shirts and whatnot. If you look at the other kiosks that are around, they're designed, they're
Can
perfect.
you give me like one example or?
On Pier 17, it's towards the north side, the other side where you are, there are kiosks that are,
You mean like temporary kiosks or like a more permanent kiosk?
they are permanent.
Okay,
but
so
it
that's.
is- Sure, but the design can also be applicable to something that's
Sure,
more
that can
temporary.
change. That's no question about that.
And the reason that I earlier asked about the materiality, it seems like it is a tensile structure or a tensile fabric that goes over it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of flexibility on what you can do with it as far as color, shape, and
Oh,
whatnot.
yeah, that's for sure. It's just a permanent kiosk would always probably look a bit better than a temporary. But since this is a pilot program, we only wanted a 3-month trial. So, we came up with something that's, again, removable on a daily basis. You just, at night, it's not even there.
So I'm sorry, I missed that it was a 3-month trial pilot program. When would this program actually start?
EDC
And when
won't-
would it end?
EDC won't consider it at all until we open. Won't consider hearing it.
And it's, okay, so if this was overall sales are permanent throughout the year, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So it's not a seasonal type of sale, it's just a pilot program, 3 months.
Yeah, see if it's gonna work or if it's not gonna work.
And where do you store it?
Landings or berthings at the seaport?
I'm sorry?
Have you considered landings or berthings at the seaport?
Yeah, we are in contact with the Howard Hughes about Pier 17.
And where are you in those negotiations?
Well, we've gone back and forth. Yeah, that's where we are.
And what is the resistance?
I wouldn't say there's a resistance. I mean, I don't think there's a resistance. It's just, I guess, takes time.
Is it far more expensive than where you are currently docking?
I wouldn't say that's the problem. It's more like, do they have the space? And then, how many departures out of there we can have? And again, they want us there. So, from what I understand. Joe?
Since we have a long agenda, can we do the agenda?
The only other thing that I would want to add is a guarantee that the operator would not do third-party ticket sales for either boat or bus in Lower Manhattan.
Why is the EDC not here?
EDC said they wouldn't hear it until they came and spoke to us because
And they don't have some sort of responsibility to put out an RFP to make it kind of, to see who else is out there interested in setting up shop downtown?
For this specific.
ABC does what they want.
they went to EDC.
Got it.
But you can,
All right.
we could say that. We could put it out and say that we could request for EDC to come up with a different alternative.
No, I mean, there's somebody here, so.
In fairness to EDC, I mean, we toiled with them for months over what the concession program would look like, what the parameters should be, and how applicants could be found, and websites and all kinds of stuff like that. So it's something we definitely bring over. Yeah. All right. Anything else to add to the resolution? Hearing none. You need to check and put them on. All right, call the question. Can I get a second?
I thought we weren't doing a resolution. I thought they were willing to come back for.
We need to do a resolution.
EDC has asked for a resolution, and the consensus was to do a resolution, but to consensus with Colin's point too, we do a no on the less, which is designed to bring them back with a better designed idea.
Okay.
Could you read the resolution, please?
Can I read it? I'll read it while
Yes,
writing it.
I want to know what.
But it is we would be opposed to the proposal as currently framed unless the applicant is formally engaged in the EDC's concession process, the FCRC, right? That the applicant would consider redesign of its kiosks so that it does not clutter the streets, and that it be, if possible, that the applicant even consider no kiosks and integrating their operations into a storefront. That the applicant work with the South Street Seaport Museum to see as well whether that might be possible within their own space. But that there must be some financial relationship that supports the historic South Street Seaport District, including the museum, but not only the museum. That there be a favorable reciprocal relationship with other businesses, that it be designed to fit in better with a historic district, that it's not looking like other temporary vendors.
We say designed and cited,
We want them to return to site it.
well, locate, I mean.
To be
design-
designed and cited to
located.
fit in better with the historic district, not looking like other temporary vendors in the area.
and that the applicant commit that there will be no third-party ticket sales for boats or buses in Lower Manhattan.
Call the question.
Maybe a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Any recusals? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the
Anybody,
resolution.
hold on, anybody who is online who is voting must have their camera on. I see Joel, but I don't see Joel's head. There's Joel's head. Thank you.
Alice, are you able to turn on your camera?
Alice and Richard, if you are able to turn on cameras. If not, we just move on.
Okay,
Moving on.
thanks, everybody. Thank you, guys. Thanks very much. Appreciate your time.
We will see you come back.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's fine. I'm here, Patrick.
Okay, thanks, Alice. I've been asked to remind members, please, if you are on the CV1 Wi-Fi, if you can hop off. I'm not sure if this applies to the learner, but if you Wi-Fi, if you can hop off, because it's killing our bandwidth and the video. Okay. Next
Patrick,
item on
I
our
just had a little
agenda.
trouble. Patrick, I just had a little trouble putting my camera on, but I put it on for the vote. That's okay.
Thanks, Richard. I appreciate it. We'll note it. You get the effort award, no doubt. My goodness. All right, next item is the modification to redesign the existing covered pedestrian space, the POTS 60 Wall Street. And we have our presenters here. Y'all can come up, introduce yourselves,
Should we do it here?
wherever you want.
In that way, I'll,
Go over by the screen.
and I'll stay over
Point to the screen, maybe that help everybody that's not.
And we do have a presentation.
What's up? Just to remind folks who may have joined in, number 2 on our agenda for 15 Cliff Street applications have been postponed until September. Thanks.
Very interested in those. Oh, sounds good. Thank you.
And we're gonna start over here.
Just make sure when you introduce yourselves, do it nice and loud and robust because you're aiming at the right outcome.
Thank you.
And we're waiting for you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Count Alice, speaking up about this. She's on the line.
Members of the. Yeah. Everyone is here. Okay, my hands are.
Oh, we are steady, come on, we're all just.
Feeling very,
Walk around town, you're on everybody's camera.
feeling very elated.
I know, right? Yes, what was the last meeting we were at?
My first
Something
meeting,
about
of course.
toilets, right?
It's a nice second one.
Hey, we got Susan on the camera.
This is.
Oh,
This is one of the
it's not big. Usually we're talking- there we go. It's not neither.
Yes. Yeah.
With the,
It goes.
One that,
But also there's long the entire.
yeah, there's report after report of, I tried to get in there. Couldn't. Oh, I get it.
He found out about it when he, and when I tried to get in.
I have a lot of questions.
Sorry, guys.
Okay, we ready to go?
Okay. We might want to ask the remote audience if they can see anything, because I know it's not loading here. And if they can't, I have dropped the presentation in the chat so that you can follow along at home on your own internet.
Alice, for example, can you see it on the screen?
The only thing we see is 60 Wall Street on the screen.
No, not this screen, on your screen. You can see it?
Oh, you can see it. Oh, it's very easy. Okay, on your test case.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
All right, so we can just get started if everybody can use the slides. Thank you for having us. My name is Melanie Myers. I'm an attorney at Fried, Frank, Harris, Schreiber, and Jacobson, representing the applicant.
Raise your voices.
And if you go to the second page, I think just about everybody, probably everybody in this room knows about 60 Wall Street building. It was built in the late 1980s, and it received 2 special permits at that point. One was for a transfer of development rights from the landmark 55 Wall Street across the way, and it also received a special permit bonus for the covered pedestrian space that's within the building. The application before you tonight is for a non-dealer modification to those special permits to allow for a revision of the covered pedestrian space. So the purpose of those changes in today's application is to update the covered pedestrian space and bring it into closer alliance with city planning's current standards. And it's proposing to do this in a number of ways, including by bringing natural lights into the space, by introducing a variety of seating types and tables in different arrangements to appeal to a variety of users, and to improve the plantings and the water features and other amenities of the space. So Chris Grant is here from ownership, and he will talk about the goals of the proposal for the covered pedestrian space in the building. And then the architecture team of KPF, led by G. Trumbull, will talk in detail about the design itself. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Melanie. As she mentioned, my name is Chris Brandt. I'm speaking on behalf of Paramount Group and the ownership of 60 Wall Street. For everyone to be aware, Paramount is not a new owner of 60 Wall Street. We became involved in the asset over 16 years ago when we took over ownership. Deutsche Bank used to own the site directly. We took over ownership and they leased it back from us. In addition, Paramount has owned or invested in several Community Board 1 located assets in the past, including 32 Old Slip, 45 Broadway, 180 Maiden Lane, and 15 Lake Street, most recently, amongst others. Also important to understand about Paramount, as you'll see some of the design elements here today, is our commitment to the sustainability of our buildings with an acute focus on the elements that lead to the overall wellness of its tenants. We're the only landlord in the United States that has 100% of its buildings LEED Gold or LEED Platinum. You'll see many of these design elements integrated into our design today. As we review what's under consideration today, it's very important to understand a little bit of history and how we got to this point. Back in 2017, we started having discussions with the then current tenant of 60 Wall Street, Deutsche Bank, that occupied the entire space. We were talking to them about renewing their lease on a long-term basis, which was set to expire in June of 22. We heard directly from the top executives and board members of Deutsche Bank that the way they wanted their employees to look and interact with their space had changed from when they first made the initial commitment to the building. They no longer looked at their real estate to portray a closed-in fortress-type personality. While they enjoyed the location of 60 Wall Street and specifically the connection to public transit, they needed space that was open and airy with terraces and other amenity space for their employees to get away from their desk in order to reset and recharge. When we brought up the POP space as a location that was immediately adjacent to their lobby, which Deutsche Bank continued to manage during that time, their notion was immediately rejected by their head of HR and a board member with whom we were meeting. They called it too dark, too dreary, too uninviting. They challenged us to rethink this space such that it may serve as a true amenity, not only to their employees, but also as a way for them to interact with the local community as well. As we all know, Deutsche Bank ended up making decisions to leave downtown. They moved to Midtown in a space with ample light and air and terraces overlooking Central Park. Living through the restack of the entire building was just too much for them. What we are left with today is a 1.7 million square foot office tower
This building is not only the largest contiguous block of office space in all of downtown, it's in fact the largest space in all of Manhattan. And even if you expand that, it's the largest contiguous office block of space in the entire, any city center in the entire United States. It's quite a daunting task to fill it back up. We estimate that nearly 7,500 bodies that had previously been coming into Community Board 1 every day, supporting the local community and local businesses, are now gone. And located on the east side of downtown, this immediate area is served with spectacular connectivity and a rich history, but is really bereft of open space and parks. The design presented represents a very significant investment to enhance and improve the pop space, including the introduction of a brand new skylight, where we're in fact sacrificing square footage on the upper floors that we could have otherwise rented out in order to bring daylight into this space. We'll be installing what will be the largest green wall in all of North America. And we'll be installing a brand new glass facade, inviting those from the outside streetscape into the space that is very shut off at this point. These enhancements will not only benefit the building, but also the entire community. Tenants who have shown initial interest in the space have all considered change to this space as a prerequisite for their consideration of locating their office tower. None have been interested in making a long-term commitment to the space if it were to remain as is. Now, I also acknowledge and understand there could be some very strong feelings about design. Please keep in mind that none of the proposed changes, in fact, take away any of the components or existing POPs elements that the current community currently enjoys. And in most cases, these figures are increased or even enhanced. The arcade space on Wall Street and Pine Street stays exactly the same. The total area and public seating that's going to be available to the community in linear square feet is increased. The connection to the subway, the public restrooms, and water features enhanced. The planting areas up 75%. And perhaps most importantly, movable seats and public tables are nearly doubled from what is available there today. We look forward to completing this design and upgrading the experience and availability of these important aspects to the space of the community. We look forward to welcoming back those 7,500 people that will work in the tower back to this community, supporting what has been and should continue to be one of the most vibrant and important communities in New York. Thanks for the time. Here, I'll pass it over to Hugh Trumbull from APL.
Situated in a very dense part of the city, as you can see on the present screen. Go to the next image. We're looking
Where we should probably at least do it this way to know which side you're on, or, right? I mean, everybody can. Let's see.
So the presentation should forward shortly to there.
So it's not, they're giving some,
Online, it's working just fine.
it's working fine online.
So if it's going to mirror online, I'm having to hold my laptop forward so you can see what slide you're on, or you can.
I can see this. I think it's just a matter of.
Yeah, we should just follow along.
Just follow the vision.
So, Andrew, come back here, come back here, flip the screen, and then just hold through the page so you guys can see what page I'm looking at.
Okay. Thank you for the flexibility.
I fully want everybody to, be able to see what's going on, as well as myself. So the existing pop space is very unique in the sense that we're in this very dense part of the city and there's very substantial room for space. This is noted, there's been a lot of trying to maximize its potential and to look at the existing condition and to try to elevate some of the things so that it is more active in the overall community. So one of the things that we see when we look at the existing top space today is that there's a lot of lighting that celebrates the ceiling, and the ground plane and the place where people are left dark. That the glass wall that separates the street from the interior is rendered in a dark glass, and there's a strong eyebrow that runs through. That the planting that was originally envisioned in the space is really defunct and doesn't work properly and never has. And we want to try to elevate the quality of the space
very much focused on the people that use it. So with that in mind, you look at the next slide. There's a number of elements that are within the space for lighting, the subway access, planting, and the way that people sit in the room can all, in our minds, be substantially improved. The subway access is quite small and diminutive and doesn't animate the room in the way that it could. The feature wall and the retail don't engage with the space as well as it could. And the interaction of the people could be much more diverse in their seating within the space. So if we go to the next slide, there is a Magnoli style plan that shows the existing condition on the left, and on the right is our proposed. The idea of the transformation of the space is to make the space feel much more grand and substantial than it is today by expanding it laterally and vertically out to the street. So we do that in 3 different ways. One of them is important in the plan, in that we are borrowing the extended lobby and sharing the space as you move towards the lobby. So full extension of overlapping space between the top and the lobby, which today is a severe wall with retail carved into it, small apertures carved into it. So what is in retail is really kind of outside of the experience of the space. For our proposal for retail, even though it's not counted in the top area, it is seen within the volume because it is a transparent volume. So much grander in its footprint. So if we go to the next line, we see a comparison and contrast between the two. Slightly different view corridor in terms of position of the viewer. But on the right, you can see the explosion of space vertically as well as horizontally in the room. That we're proposing a new glass wall on either ends, allows the street and the sidewalk to be more engaged in the space, but also this really wonderful verdant green wall that rises up to overhead glass light that lets light cascade down into the space from above. So bringing light in from both sides, bringing it down into the hall, and letting extended space open into the lobby, all making the place feel much more diverse, green, and in line with people. If we go to the next slide. Here, again, is sort of parallel with all of the different conditions that we had before. We are much more integrating natural lighting and artificial lighting into the experience of the space. A really wonderful, powerful arrival from the subway as the place that you enter Wall Street and you're engaged in the community that way. The planting is very substantial, 4-story green wall that rises up and goes through the block of deck. Wonderful featured planting and diverse seating, as well as active retail, where there's seating that is open to the public, as well as to some that's within the space that is as it is today for the weekend. And we go to the next one. This is an accounting of all of the specific elements that are required within the top space. And you can see that we are equal to or exceeding every single category. And I would bring into your focus the restrooms as this kind of small item, which are absolutely miserable today, which will be well appointed. A substantial green wall and space, so that is very, very different. The amount of movable seats is substantially more. So much more activity within the space as the people using. Okay, we go to the next one. Looking at the exterior of the space, we've been before you recently to talk about the exterior. In this condition, we are keeping the columns on the outside. We have replaced with a low iron glass wall, which is 3 stories tall, not 2 stories tall as it is today, to allow a lot more light to pass through from the street and allow people on the street and the people within the plot space to engage directly with one another. We think that this is going to be very rich From that, that black wall, you can see into the green wall, you can see into the activity, and the light is focused on the people. To go to the next image. We've been talking about this image a little bit. I want you to maybe focus on the way that we have this very diverse scene around, related to the retail, directly sitting around the retail, within the retail, pockets of different types of seating. Right in the foreground, this is an area right in the green wall, some of almost immersive green experience. This green wall is very much like a vertical park. This area of Wall Street is very pleasant of a green space, and to bring that much green space into this community is something we think is extremely valuable and will make an overall sense of health and wellness within the neighborhood. If you go to the next image, you can see a cross section through. On the right is the subway tunnel coming through, and then up the grand stair being immersed in the green wall, the light cascading from above, and then the larger street storefront that opens out to the sidewalk and to the activities of here in the street. We go to the next image. Here you can see the role that that green wall plays as a wonderful backdrop canvas for the activities of the promenade back and forth from Wall Street to Pine Street, and the idea that people are engaged, sitting in front of it, and nature and people and the street and urbanism are all available. Next. Yes. Here you can see standing above the entry coming in from Wall Street subway up to Wall Street, grand staircase running into the center of the space. Burgundy green wall on the right. Next. Now we turn and look at the new proposition for the retail space, which is transparent room within the overall volume, very different than what exists there today, and the extension of space into the lobby, really doubling, almost tripling the scale and sense of place and the size of the room. We go to the next. Views from the lobbies looking in, the sort of inviting connection between the two spaces, rising up and dealing with the landscape and the topography of this area of Wall Street, making that sort of transition element. We go to the next image. You can see this very similar parallel condition on Pine Street, but over to the left, just before the Exedra, we will see the portal entry into the new restroom that will be there. Very much better appointed and a lot more comfortable to go and use for the public. Yes. This slide really talks about the sense of arrival at Wall Street from the Metro. This is something that's very important to us, that you really feel like you're entering into something that's pretty spectacular. Wall Street has an intense name. It is very much part of New York, and the idea of arriving there should be very theatrical and impressive, and it should be welcome and comfortable. And this idea of kind of emerging out of Green Park and onto this very dense, vibrant street, we think is a spectacular offering to the green. Next. This is a cross section now looking back into the building, allowing for a little bit of engagement with the public, the trading floors that are up above. More importantly, if you look at the corridor down below, you can see how the grand stair is an immersive green space that rises up, enters into the center of the top space, and distributes you either to Wall Street or to Pine Street on either side. And the grandeur of a 3-story wall versus a 2-story wall that you see right there. Next. Focusing a little bit on the Metro connection. Now on the left-hand image, we're looking down that staircase. On the right-hand image, you can see the second stair that comes up from the Metro and distributes directly outside to Pine Street. So there's two means of arrival that can be utilized, as there is today. This is a very important slide and one that we have been working with the city to really own and think about the way seating is incorporated within the space. A lot of discussions about how to best do this. And one element that has come forward as being really, really important is having diverse and different kinds of seating, a bit different than exists today. We have individual tables with freestanding chairs. We have benches that are free within the space. We have benches that are locked into walls in the green wall that oversee the stair. And we have tables that are almost like workstations within the space, as well as seating within the cafe, which are not counted in the document, but very different types of seating. So if you come to the space as an individual, or if you come to the space to meet someone, or if you come to the space as a group, there's a place for you to sit and a comfortable environment for you to be in. Very, very diverse, and we believe that this will initiate a higher use of the space in general. If we go to the next slide. Again, I've talked about this, really important is the seating, the idea of the movable seating that is around the Exedra or the retail space and that align the pedestrian ways are very flexible and dynamic and allow the participants within the space to engage in the room. Next. So just to run through a quick summary, all the critical items that we think that we're elevating in the space: lighting, using the natural light, letting that light also participate in the seeing and being seen from the street. The subway access is very grand now in our proposal. The water features are engaging in part of the seating area in a much grander way. The planting is huge. And as Chris has said, the largest green wall in North America will be the vertical garden for Wall Street. Wonderful seating area, the public restroom, the connection of inside and outside, and what we think is a very engaging retail experience.
So,
that, I remember that too.
and that is the presentation. We really thank you for your time and patience and happy to answer questions.
Okay, wait. So before we get going, let me just give the committee a little bit of an orientation on where we are and what we're considering. This application was referred out by the City Planning Commission at its June 26, 2023 meeting. It was originally communicated to us that it would be a 60-day referral, but that was a mistake. It's actually a 45-day period. So they need our recommendation, the community board's recommendation, by the 21st of August, 2023. So that gives us nothing more than this meeting, this month, this full board to get this thing considered. I'm going to take a little bit of privilege in this and just comment quickly for one moment before as is our tradition at the community board, to allow our elected officials to go first before any committee members have any questions. I know our council member, Christopher Marte, is online. So Chris, council member, excuse me, giving you a little bit of heads up that you'll be on deck, or Connor, to have a council member speak in a moment. But with regard to the timing, I want everyone to know that we did, as leadership of the community board and this committee, pushed hard to have this applicant consider not having CPC refer this out on the 26th, because it gives this community board few 30 days for this project. We're very passionate. They should have waited until September so that we could have had a little bit more time, had the full 45 days to really consider the application. And at the time, by the way, we thought we were going to have 60 days. So nonetheless, and I say that because I think it's a great project. I think it's a beautiful upgrade to a really deteriorated area that I think the community would love to be updated. But because this applicant didn't listen to our advice, I don't think I'm in a position to sort of, you're going to hear from others tonight, from other organizations and preservation groups that are opposed to this project. You're going to hear a lot of varying opinions, but those who might be in favor of it, I think sadly aren't going to have enough time really to express those opinions because the applicant has chosen to go forward with that. And that's just my viewpoint. For that reason, I'm going to be abstaining no matter what. But there's going to be a lot of debate on this, and it's going to be a long one. So, Councilmember Martin, are you able to?
Yeah, Patrick, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me,
Yes.
Patrick?
Chris, can you hear us?
Chris, we can hear you. We can hear
Okay.
you.
All right, thank you. And I want to thank Patrick for saying that because I feel like that's a really important point. You know, even my office had a limited amount of time to review the new proposal, and we also asked for more time because we know, you know, during the summer it's really hard for community board members to, you know, be present at these meetings and, you know, take on the responsibility of actually reviewing every single aspect of this proposal. With that said, I think we should vote no on recommending the new changes to 60 Wall Street. You know, as we all know, there's been community, landmark preservationists, and other stakeholders that have been fighting to make sure that this remains and should be a landmark worthy site. You know, there's a lot of history, and not only the architecture that reminds folks of the 1980s, but also the effects of 9/11 and what that space represents for the downtown community. We feel like the current conditions of the site is due to neglect and the refusal of actually looking for new retail to invigorate the current space. And so I just wanted to say a few words, but I know Connor is going to go into more detail for my team on why we think the community board should reject this upgrade to the space. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Appreciate you making the time for us.
This is
Alex.
Connor from. Okay, great. Thank you. And I know there's a lot of folks who want to speak, so I'll try to be brief. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Connor, we hear you.
All right. Okay, great. Sorry, I just want to make sure. So I just want to start by, I know, just going through a few points. One, obviously, as the council member mentioned, this is an extremely landmark-worthy open space. We think that nothing drastic like this should happen to this space as it's being considered as a potential interior landmark. Second, I want to include a few points. You know, we've drafted some thoughts about these proposed changes, some of which directly address the requirements of a covered pedestrian space. What you saw today covered a bit of the required findings to better the public realm, as well as some proposed improvements to the space. So first, I just want to say we've found a couple points that I think contradict the narrative of the applicant, especially as it comes to the requirements of a covered pedestrian space. I'm just going to go through a few points that were mentioned in the slides. And, you know, this kind of does follow the theme that a lot of these supposed improvements are really just the result of a sort of, I'd say, like a comparison between a current space that is neglected and ignored, and obviously a proposal that would benefit the ownership and a new tenant, but doesn't necessarily orient us toward public benefits. In terms of lighting, you know, these changes are happening primarily through facades on Pine and Wall Street, which have already been approved by the Landmarks Preservation Commission. A sliver skylight at the edge of the covered pedestrian space would not substantially change lighting. While, you know, smaller alterations to artificial lighting in the space, I think could always be implemented without a gut renovation. In terms of subway access, the current layout allows for easy access to the subway from both in and outside the covered pedestrian space. At the northwest corner, the proposal includes a staircase that would start at the center of the plaza, which would reduce access from the street. Additionally, there is a proposed escalator and an elevator down to just the mezzanine of the subway station, not to the platform. So we don't really consider this an ADA access improvement since it wouldn't be complete. There are currently 4 water features, which would be reduced down to 2. In terms of planting and landscaping, I think the applicant is claiming improvements to landscaping, but the majority of this happens through the green wall, which we don't consider as floor area, obviously because it's on the wall. We don't think that that can really be considered as a landscaping improvement. In terms of seating, there's no proposed addition to fixed seating, only additional movable seats, which obviously can always be included in the existing space. In terms of public restroom improvements, the public restroom is only being relocated. And as the council member kind of alluded to, the issues with the public restroom currently have to do with a lack of maintenance. In terms of retail, there are currently 5 retail frontages, which better follows the zoning requirements per section 74-872C. Being reduced to 1 retail frontage is arguably against the zoning requirements of a covered pedestrian space, but also diminishes this as an amenity to the space from the perspective of the public. And I think that just in terms of connection in the general space, we can see from the floor plans presented that the space is substantially narrowed by the projection of the restaurant bar space into the plaza. And I think that, these are all points that kind of go against what has been stated by the applicant in their presentation. But I think that it really comes down to, the purposes of this space as a public amenity, not as a driver for pitching a new tenant. I think that we really want to consider this as something that can be substantially better maintained and perhaps with minor renovations to make it a more welcoming and amenable space than it currently is, with new retail opening, better maintenance of plantings, better maintenance of the bathrooms. But we don't see removing any landmark qualities of this beloved interior space as necessary in what we see as a really important public benefit in the community. So I'll just stop there and let other folks testify. Thank you.
Thanks very much, John. And Councilmember, really appreciate it. We're going to go just one more moment before we get to the committee members' questions. I'm going to defer to Chair Meltzer, who I believe wants to let us know about some.
So I'll go last.
We've received, let me say this, we've received a number of letters that the applicant has submitted from organizations in favor of their project. We have received through the community board a number of letters opposing project and application from prestigious preservation groups and others. And so we want to make sure that those are all part of the record. I believe all of those have been forwarded with the members of the committee, so you can before the opportunity to consider those, think about the resolution tonight.
I'm also in the process of trying to upload them to meeting materials online.
Okay. And with that, I wanted to see Alice, if you're, I know you might not be in a position to unmute, but if you wanted to deliver your thoughts and remarks, I know you have a time constraint and wanted to be able to do that. So I'll go forward to the time to get it on.
Hi, this is tricky for me. Can you hear me? I'm sorry to ask that question. But can you?
And if you want us to, Alice, we can hear you, but if you
Can
want
you
us
hear
to
me?
wait and come back.
Yes.
Yes.
I think Tammy's the only one microphone that's working. This is not working.
Alice, we can hear you.
Okay. Do
Alice,
you want
we
me to
can hear you.
speak or
Just
not?
wanna- Yes, if you want. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Thanks very much. So thanks to the presentation and to all the comments. I wholeheartedly agree with the tremendous work that everyone has done, both the group that has tried to redesign the space, but also to the group that at land use at the council member's office who have looked to find out, sort of analyze what is not working and accurate in some of this. I mean, basically, the proposal is seeking to demolish an important historic Roshan Dinklo architectural interior. And, I can't help but say if a thoughtful renovation of this existing interior atrium space and some good publicity would probably make 60 Wall an incredible tourist attraction, much like the other Roshan Dinklo interior, or both of them, in fact, the Ford's Foundation interior and the United Nations. These are extraordinary places that could never be replaced. And I often think, why, if I own that building, why wouldn't I just make it what it is, which is an icon, and make it really a great place to come to visit. Anyway, I just want to remind everyone that we have supported a position that the landmarks, this board, that the landmarks preservation issued their findings on 60 Wall. And, the preservation commission requested that this, agreed to do this. And they have noted that this is worthy, merits further research. So at a minimum, I think the board should support the position that LPC issued their findings on 60 Wall prior to the application be considered a CPC, and that the two agencies work together on this, for this landmark eligible building. It makes little sense. And much like we saw with the exterior, where we actually, the community prevailed in not having that exterior completely decimated, and in fact will remain the same. So now we're being asked on the interior. We'll let landmarks take a look at the interior. I'm not saying that their decision would make or break anyone else's decision here, but at a minimum, we should have that agency review this prior to having CPC say that they would or would not agree to a modification. Beyond the historic and aesthetic concerns that have been well laid out previously, there are many things that Connor has pointed out that I agree with, and I spend quite a bit of time looking this over with others to just really make sure that there's, where are the public benefits? And so I just want to offer up a few, and I hate to be long-winded, but I realize this is our only shot, and I realize this will have to go into a resolution, so this is for the record. But I would say that the proposed modification compromises the public space. The sense of a grand urban room that currently exists there today is compromised by the narrowing, in fact, of the atrium space. And I don't know if you can pull up that comparison of the two, or whether that's difficult to do in plan, but you'll see that where the original scheme offered the public, and it just by going in there, a single large and special room, a very special room, whether you like it or not is not particularly relevant here, but one would say it is historic if Landmarks believes that it actually merits a review. And the proposed layout actually narrows the space into 3 areas, which results essentially in a travel corridor area located between 2, I would argue, unnecessary additions. One, an unnecessarily large stair to the subway. To my knowledge, I don't think anyone has complained that that stair wasn't adequate, and a large oval-shaped retail establishment, the Exedra. Second, I'd say that the proposed modification compromises the public commercial space, and this is important. I think the single retail establishment does not allow, which is what's being proposed, does not allow for the potential for multiple stores, as actually originally specified in the zoning. Rather than, I think it was 5 independent and smaller spaces, allowing small-scale merchants an opportunity to benefit from this location, the proposal seeks to accommodate only a single user in the atrium. And additionally, the removal of the store fronting Wall Street on the southeast corner of the atrium contradicts the applicant's stated goal to increase street visibility and activity. Then I would say that third, it is a compromised pedestrian experience. The applicant claims that a previous presentation, and I wasn't hearing all of this tonight, I'm sorry, it was very spotty. The primary reason for the large stair at the west side of the atrium was to allow for, I quote, a grand stair and experience when exiting from the subway. But there doesn't seem to be a real need for this, and grant here is highly subjective. There are numerous exits on nearby streets to access the subway, and the existing atrium stair is ample and well located. And I don't think there have been complaints, at least I don't think, I haven't looked at this in CB1, about any inadequacy to the stair. I'd also add that the existing circulation also includes escalators that go logically in both directions. Curiously, here, there's only one escalator in the proposed design, and presumably with access going up, I assume it changes at different times of the day. But this will require that anyone who cannot use the stair will need to walk the length of the atrium, if I'm reading this right, potentially with baggage, to the north end to use the elevator. And I just don't see how this really could work on a busy Friday afternoon when you're carrying luggage, but maybe I'm missing something there. But certainly I don't understand why we cannot keep the two existing escalators. And additionally, that of the concern that Connor does point out that this is not fully handicap accessible. With all this work, this elevator will not go down to the platform level of the subway, so it is not fully accessible, which is currently the case. And then I would also add, fourth, that there are compromised green space and water features here. The proposal includes an alleged increase in landscaping in the form of this green wall, but in reality, the original 290 square feet of tree planters and the 17 planted trees are proposed with just one wall interspersed with masonry panels. And it's difficult to see this wall as really being a fair evaluation of an increase in landscape green space for that space. And when one thinks of the Ford Foundation, one can imagine what this space could really be in terms of allowing for all these trees that were originally there to be well maintained and cared for. The existing atrium has 4 water features consisting of sculptural fountains, which of course are not on right now, which were fantastic in their heyday. And this proposal looks to remove these and replace them with 2 pools, which are small and I think don't move, they're stagnant water. And I feel without question profoundly diminish the special fountain feature of the existing space. Lastly, the proposal is demolishing a perfectly usable public space, whether you like it or not. It is a historic one and contradicts the city's commitment to sustainability and adaptive reuse and carbon neutrality, which is the text amendment we've all just been working on. This seems just contrary to a logical kind of redo of an existing space. So I would ask that our committee looks to, of course, reject this modification, and to ask that Landmarks calendar and review 60 Wall before any CPC decision is taken, and that we enter into this, if people agree, I don't know, with the analysis, or at least make sure that that analysis is attached by the council members, land use head. And I thank you, and sorry for being long-winded.
Alice, if you have the bandwidth to repeat your very, very, very last point, we just missed it cut out.
It was on can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Can you hear me? I'm so sorry. I hate when people ask. I'm in the middle of nowhere in Colombia, so it's a little tricky. I had 3 points, Patrick, that I was seeing, that I'm asking be considered by the committee as therefore be it resolved, if you will, that the CB1 urges the LPC to calendar review 60 Wall before CPC modifies it, that we consider the analysis that was provided by Connor from land use at Marte's office. It's an analysis that seems somewhat factual. I think that's a good thing to attach or have as part of this resolution. I certainly want to see included in the resolution the fact that this board has asked that this be be reviewed rather by the Landmarks Preservation Commission, right? We already have that community board resolution that should be included here, as well as our earlier resolutions on this property. So those were the things I said. I hope you can hear me. And I wrote all this to Tammy, so she has it as a copy also.
All right, thanks, Alice. We're going to go around the room. Connor, you're first.
I have to admit a little frustration that these past two testimonies kind of suppressed differing opinions here, and I feel like I'm swimming upstream again, but I'm gonna take a different tact. I don't know the details as well as Alice or others, or the council person's office. What I do know is I'm a business owner. I've outgrown my current office. I do know that there's a commercial real estate problem in New York right now, which affects residually low-income wage earners, small businesses. And when you attract larger businesses, when you attract businesses to buildings like yours, you're actually going to help fix some of those problems. I'm looking for a space, and when I saw your presentation, I immediately got excited about it. I would actually want to go to that building, which I used to write off as, 80s, aged, not so good stuff. So I'm inclined to support it from what little I know of it so far. I have only been here for 17 years, but I don't see a whole lot of historical value to that area. But we do have to think carefully about what kind of businesses we can attract to downtown, because at the end of the day, that's what fuels the recovery for downtown, not 30-year-old historical, whatever that room is. That's my point.
Next call. Rosa?
Oh, I've got so many thoughts. I'll try to be as succinct as possible. So number one, I live a block away, so I'm speaking as a resident whose living room windows literally look onto the building, which I consider a visual assault on my eyeballs. And honestly, I'm sort of, I look at the building and at that building and I grimace. And that's just from the exterior. From the interior, then I have been in that POTS many, many times, and recently, but even not recently, honestly, it was always deserted. I don't know how any of those little small businesses stayed alive, because it was never occupied. That space is abandoned. It is sad. It is maybe that way because of the feel of it, but it was that way when Deutsche Bank was in full occupancy as well. So I don't think it's not about COVID, it's about the space. It doesn't particularly attract people who want to stay there and occupy it. And so I am actually going to applaud you for taking this on. Frankly, I don't think you have a choice, because if you have 1.7 million square feet empty and you are not able to attract the people who are going to be able to use that space, then to Colin's point, we are leaving an incredibly big hole in the heart of lower Manhattan.
Absolutely.
And saying, well, we don't want this to be commercially viable because it is a dinosaur. It has a lot of things it's going to have to make up for. And this is the gateway to that dinosaur, and it's not helping. So it has its own feeling. I personally think of it as almost, frankly, like a Disney kind of folly. Nobody, maybe it's nice to walk into for like a couple of minutes, but no one's hanging around here except for, and I hate to say this, but people who have no other option of where to go. I have not seen it occupied by anyone other than that. I do agree with some of the points that have been made earlier. Number one, why is there only one escalator? And why don't the escalators and the stairs access the actual subway level? The elevator looks incredibly tiny based on this teeny tiny plan. And we do have a lot of people with a lot of luggage going around, and that doesn't seem like it can be accommodated. The stair entry directly off of Pine Street looks incredibly mean from both the plan and the renderings. I would suggest that you reconsider that if you are able to do so. I do worry about the retail tenants that are there now, but if they even still exist and haven't gone bankrupt, well, so yes, so then, okay, well, so then I'm gonna miss the shoe repair guy, but okay, it is what it is. The entry to the bathrooms, I appreciate that you are upgrading the bathrooms. I did not even know in the entire 10 plus years that I've been living one block away that there were public restrooms here. But where you've located them makes them essentially inaccessible and hidden and only known to people who are in the know. And I would request that, given the absolute dearth of publicly available restrooms in this city, that you make it much more prominent, noticeable, accessible. I actually think the green wall's awesome. I do also, the one thing I like about the space as it currently exists is the water element when it was on. And I would hope that you sort of do something with that if that's possible. It looks like you increase the seating by
To
number.
retain it because it's removed.
Well, then I'd be flexible. I mean, honestly, if we're talking about water feature, you know, 2 rocky water features versus an incredibly large wall of green planted space, I would vote green planted space personally, but I understand that other people have their views. The F&B retail looks to me like a privatization of this public space. And I would strongly urge you to not do that and to actually maintain the space as public, because that is what is going to get more people here in this room, on this committee, to be friendly to your proposal versus the privatization of this space, which we greatly, greatly do not appreciate. Just saying that to you right now, to be honest. Let's see, the tables. You've got a lot of seats here that you're saying that you're adding more to, but honestly, it looks like they're crammed up together, and that's not cool, especially in what looks like a very large, wide, reverberating kind of echoey space. I would encourage you, because in the old plan, it felt like the tables actually had space around them, and that's very rare in New York City. I would encourage you to continue doing that and not squish them all together and then say, we got you more seats, because, you know, we certainly have that. I like the atrium. I appreciate that you're willing to open it up for light. That we went over. Yeah, why is there just one escalator? We have so, well, hopefully when you get this building filled up and the other buildings around us are also all filled up, we're actually going to have enough people on these escalators to warrant having to. So it would be awesome if you had to, as there are currently.
Why is it one escalator one way?
Yes, why is it one escalator one way? Why isn't it? Or as it was
Give me a chance
previously?
to answer any of these, or are you just gonna keep going?
I'm just gonna go through and then you can. You can go through, and let's see what else. Sorry, I just didn't want to take up too much time, which is why I'm like record racing through all of this, but. Yeah, oh, the bathrooms are accessible, yes. So I'm gonna end by saying, I think you guys did an incredible job. I support this. I want this building to be successful, because then that's gonna make our neighborhood healthier, our streets safer, our environment. The entire thing is going to feel better. So I wish you success in this. But you need to respect that there are certain things that are gonna be challenging for us as community members to get behind. We want to get behind this. We don't want this to be like a cobwebby building that nobody ever wants to go to, and it basically becomes this like abandoned, you know, Disney-fied place. Like, nobody wants that. We want you guys to have a full building with successful retail, with an amazing public actually want to inhabit, with free and accessible public restrooms, with 2 escalators, a larger elevator, and real access from the street. We applaud you on the effort, and I hope it's successful.
So feel free to respond to any of them. Take a look.
Should we respond to?
Public access.
Everything we've heard so far?
Let's start with where we are, and then we'll keep going at least, because that way people don't have to repeat that I don't like this. Yeah, and they can add to the answers.
Can we start with public access? Can we start there?
Yes.
Sure.
What will be the public until you're done?
I'm sorry, I don't follow what you mean by public access.
When can people get in there?
We would be maintaining the same hours as we're currently.
Sorry, what is that right now?
I don't know if it's.
That is at 10 p.m.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah, any escalators, can you address that?
So, Matt, you may be best, or you may be best to speak about our extensive conversations with the MTA and the designing of that staircase and the escalator in terms of the location of it, where it's been placed. There's some comments about why does the staircase come up here and come up there. We've had very different designs, and we've actually taken significant input from the MTA in getting to this design already. So, Matt or Hugh, if you can speak to that.
There's things that everybody is in trouble. They don't have a good sign.
Joe?
So there are a number of issues. One thing that we felt was important is to incorporate an elevator, and the elevator may look small in the plan, but it is a substantial elevator that can be
Dimensions?
for handicap.
Interior?
So people can go in there and they can have quite a bit of luggage with them and they go up and let it. But we felt that was an important element to add to the space. So that somebody that is handicapped can go up and down. So when we say it's not directly connected to the metro, or the ramp systems and the connective tissue. So you come down to the lower floor and then you're on a ramp system, but the actual subway itself, the platform, it's not ADA compliant, and so you can't go to it.
And your renovations cannot make that directly
It
accessible?
has to do with the subway system, that's the platform and access to it. Which is way beyond our.
The actual subway access, the actual subway access at the horizontal entry is quite a ways away from the base of the staircase to get to the public space. There's no clean connection within our building line. It's actually, to some degree, you can see that at first it was pushing back on the elevator, and we felt it was very necessary to include ADA compatibility as much as we could within our premise. So we pushed to have that limiting there, period. At first, it was going to without that feedback. So we're big advocates for everything within our property line being ADA accessible. And, it's impossible to connect all the way up the platform. We have to said there's no plans currently to make that station accessible.
And just to be clear, because I heard Alice say something, but just to be clear, today the escalators go down through the concourse, so the elevator and the escalator that's going to be used will go to exactly the same existing windows. Okay.
So why add an extra giant staircase taking more space out of the public realm if you're all going to the same location?
There's two staircases. One is the one that goes up the Pine Street directly. That is equal to or larger than the existing stair that does that same work today.
It sucks today, just that word.
What's that?
It sucks today, but.
Why take out more public space to add a staircase if it goes to the same place?
The belief is that the staircase and the escalators that are there today are utilitarian. They're not grand. They're, confrontational for somebody that's trying to go up and down because they're so steep and they're, in a sense, cool. And so the idea is to make it much more generous, much more inviting to move up and down the staircase. The staircase is designed ergonomically to be a much more inviting flow up and down the staircase. And that sort of health and wellness, being next to the wall, we wanted to promote the use of the staircase. There is a substantial amount of infrastructure underneath the building on Ed Pulse that make it very difficult to place the escalator pits into that area. And so the position of the escalator as a single escalator, we've done numerous studies to try to get the second escalator in. But this is what has driven us to come with the single escalator. We've reviewed this with the city very, very carefully many times. And we believe that this is a very good solution in terms of the general balance.
And I've been clear.
You gotta go,
Okay, no, but.
I'm gonna try to get this back on track. Yeah, and some of us don't know.
Okay, go.
We're gonna, comments are fine. I'm not gonna ask the applicant to respond to comments. If you have a question, a direct question, yeah, okay, fine. Don't answer that. Otherwise, we need to get through the presentation, get through the comments and question. Gerald, you had your hand up?
Yeah.
And then Joe.
Michael.
Gerald, then Joe.
And then Michael and Bruce. Jesus, Roger, sorry.
I'm still got a little bit of that.
Oh, my Lord, that's terrible.
Joe.
Okay.
How is it, well, I guess I have two questions. One being, how is this bringing in more natural light with I understand we're going to from 2 stories to 3 stories. But I mean, from this rendering on the last page, I also noticed you can only see half the space, but at least 40 or 50 lights that are being shown onto this green wall. And I just wonder from, you know, I fully respect this, the position that you all are in for wanting to upgrade a space and bring tenants in. I'm in the position with, you know, from the historic standpoint too, though, that I also would wonder how is removing a lot of fabric, especially historic fabric, how is that, and installing a green wall, how is that sustainable? How, where does removing fabric and installing a lot of new fabric become suddenly more sustainable? And how does a green wall offset that?
I guess it's a question of how you define sustainable. If you're looking in the short term, I understand your point about creating waste. If you're looking in the long term about creating a sustainable ecosystem, business, bodies coming back to this area, of people being attracted to have this to be one of the top locations that you want to locate your office in within the city, that brings bodies, that brings jobs, that brings the cleaners back into the space, that brings the engineers back into the building, that brings that sustainable ecosystem to support the entire area. And as we're upgrading the buildings as well, we're making significant investments into upgrading the infrastructure of the building such that we will be in full compliance, local law 97 and various other energy and sustainability goals within the building. But in order for us to justify making those energy efficient investments into the building, we need to make sure that this is a place that we will be able to achieve the rents that will in fact support that investment.
Thanks, Joe?
Yeah, I used that place on many occasions, and the one word I came up with was, they let it rot. And I felt very bad about it because I love walking in there, it looked gorgeous. You walk inside and you want to have a cup of coffee, but you look and you don't want to go back again. So I think I'm gonna have to go look at the building again, make up my mind. I love this. I love it if it was cleaned up.
Stop it. Okay, so I'd like to address that specifically because I understand that. To be very clear, when we came in to own this building, this was a sale leaseback, and Deutsche Bank was the occupant of the building, 100% of the building, managing 100% of the building. This included the pop space. So despite our request to Deutsche Bank to come in and make improvements, we were denied that request by Deutsche Bank. We came to them many times with suggestions for security improvements.
Then you don't negotiate very well, sir, do you?
Until what year did you take full control?
June of 2022.
And since June of 2022, it is dilapidated to unbearable. I went in there at lunchtime. It's a disgrace that you own that building.
Okay,
You
hold on,
can't-
let him finish, because we're trying to understand to what Joe said, when they were able to do anything, and if they were able to do anything, to give them fairness.
So our lease did not allow us to be involved in the space in any way. We in fact approached Deutsche Bank many times during this lease. And sir, unfortunately, it's not a matter of negotiation. That was the lease. That's what the terms of the agreement were. Deutsche Bank was good at many things. In my opinion, managing property was not one of them. That's why we approached them many times to try to make these changes. We realized that a change needs to be made in this space. And so we did not get this space back until June of 2022. We've been ready to actually start making these changes as of June of 2022, but there have been some procedural steps that have gotten in the way.
But keeping it clean and making the windows so you can see through them. It was 85 degrees in there at lunchtime. It's no wonder it's there, Rosa, because it's been, as we say, too water. No, it's got much worse. I understand when Starbucks closed and Shoe Shine Guy closed.
Roger, I appreciate the point. Michael's next.
I have a couple of problems. I mean, one problem is that we're looking at it in a vacuum. I mean, if we have 1.7 million square feet of space, then you've got more than just the lobby to worry about. And we're not getting any information about the rest of the building. And we're all, sympathetic to trying to repurpose the building. We don't know whether it's going to be residential or commercial as a repurpose. So, we're just looking at this in a vacuum. That's the first point I guess I'm making. And the second point I guess I'm trying to make is that we don't know what it would look like to just repurpose what exists. I don't understand why the 1980s are a bad thing. The 1880s are not a bad thing either. You know, just because there are some buildings that are Google friendly or something like that, doesn't mean that it's the only answer. And we're not being given, we're not privy to all the decisions that you're making, we're just being asked to comment on this one piece. And from my perspective, as hopefully a preservationist, I would like to respect the 1980s, and I would like to continue to see, you know, it being repurposed in that manner. I'm not convinced that this green wall is any better than some other landscaping solution that you could come up with within the existing envelope. So that's my position.
Laura?
The green wall. But I'm a landscape architect. I've designed green walls. They're always problematic. So if you look, like, is there a precedent for a 3-story green wall in an interior space? And do you know what's involved in maintaining it?
So I'm gonna let you speak to some of the specifics of the green wall as it is, but we as a company at Paramount Group have green walls in a number of our properties. We've worked with the same landscape architect through the full design and implementation into several of our buildings in San Francisco previously. So we do have the experience of going from beginning to end with these same landscape architect groups. Yes, this is a certainly bold statement that we're making here, but this is, you know, we have the groups that are the top in the country that have been involved in installing the largest.
Because they involve a huge amount of plant replacement and ladders and getting up there. And if like you're having a hard time maintaining this, and you know, like I love green walls. However, when we talk about people in lower Manhattan needing green, what we need is to be enveloped and immersed in green. And I think, you know, it would be worth looking at the sort of Ford Foundation idea of green as opposed to the green wall idea of green, because it is easier to maintain and it helps better with the sound, and it creates real spaces, warm spaces, because this looks like a very pingy, polished corporate space. And I think, you know, what we need is something that is really like green and verdant and like you're really in the green when you come in. And I think for the goal of trying to get people, like, to attract tenants and have people want to inhabit this space, you know, I think of like the Durst building with the one across from Bryant Park with that room with those green hedges and things. Like you want to be, you know, if you're coming down to have a meeting with a couple of colleagues, like you want to feel like you can have a space around you, maybe defined by the plants, as opposed to these movable tables and chairs that with the noise reverberating. So I think that, you know, I'm not one giving the preservation argument. I'm one giving the, like, really attract the best, really put the green in to maximize the value. And the other thing is, I have to say, like, those stone water features or whatever are on the walls, I think they're fantastic. Like, there's nothing, is that what those are? Those stone weird things?
Lava.
I mean, who else has that? I don't know. Like, if I were you, I would retain those as like a nod to the preservation people. And it's just so earthy and crazy, you know, I would go with it. That's just, you know, that's just my opinion. But I am concerned that, you know, it feels kind of, it feels like it's lost some of the soul, and it is like corporate and pingy. And I feel it's too airy almost, like it needs to be anchored somehow. Maybe the larger columns, even though they're not gorgeous, but something, I just think the more planting in the earth. Okay, that's it.
So I agree with what you were saying, and I was thinking, in addition to a lot of things that everyone said, I think what you're doing with different types of furniture and seating, it's great, but I got a bit confused. Is there only one food and beverage that you're offering? And it is the one in the circular thing in the back?
So the way that the retail will be set up can be set up for multiple retailers or a singular retailer. We are yet to explore exactly how that will work, but the thought is that this is certainly something that services the community from morning time until night. So it's coffee and breakfast items in the morning time, through lunchtime, into a cocktail or evening time as well.
So I see the different types of furniture, and I think to me, what makes a really great public space is to different areas having different activities and having different programs. So you are providing the different types of furniture to accommodate that, but I'm not sure if the architecture or how you have, put your walls or columns or seatings, or as Dora was mentioning, maybe to enclose some of the spaces and having different types of defining characteristics. But to me, I mean, I agree with what Rosa was saying. I avoid going through there with my son every time we cross. I'm like, let's just go up. And something needs to be done. I'm not sure if this is the right thing, but I do appreciate the effort. It already looks more live and vibrant, and it's a rendering. I also have another question about your floor to ceiling heights, which is very specific. Are you changing that at all or not?
We're keeping the existing height and extending it up where we can.
So you're bringing
So the
perhaps.
primary ceiling is the exact same height as it is today. And then all of the spaces where the light, the green wall goes up is extended up higher. At the front wall, Wall Street,
That
and
goes
the back
up
wall, if you will, Pine Street, those are extended up as well. So that's a 3-story space as opposed to a 2-story space. Essentially, that ceiling
So
that's through
this-
there is at the 30.
So this is like, you're keeping this tray and then.
This piece is here, and
Yeah.
the center is the same, and then everything around it is elevated.
That's
up
perhaps
even
why
higher.
it looks
Yes,
more.
a story or more.
Yeah, that's smart. I think that's a good move.
Thank you for your comments. And so to your point about the safety and security issues, we have found that in fact, the design and aesthetic of Pop Space and our other properties directly relates onto the type of people that are coming into the space. So where we have improved the experience in terms of those that are actually coming into the space.
Yeah, Roger, then I would come online to Alice, then to Tammy, then to Charlie.
So I just want to talk a little bit about process first. That building was given millions of dollars of extra floor space because of the POPs. And when Kevin Brooks presented that, I'm sure the community board said, fantastic. The strategy that owners, and obviously it precedes you, sir, but you now own the building as far as I know. The strategy of letting these things become dark, dangerous, dirty, forces us to say, we won't work with you because you're not a good neighbor. You could have put in efforts like Howard Hughes tried to make us realize you're trying to keep that place habitable. I agree, it's miserable through there as I did Saturday. And I walked through there a lot, and my club's just through the other side is High Street. And so you have to have some responsibility for saying you're allowing the process to allow people to say, oh, we've got to make this change because it's so despicable. When Kevin Roach presented, it's just the way you're presenting, I'm sure he was extremely optimistic about how this building was going to look. And so was 250 Water. All the POPs buildings really put money into the POPs because they were getting multi-millions of extra floor space up at the top. So the fact that we've let them all turn into terrible places is unfortunate. But as you're hearing, there's a lot of us around this room, I'm in preservation, but there's a lot of us around this room who are not as preservation minded as I am, saying there's many features you could work with there, which is sustainable, rather than putting in a problematic, as Laura says, the landscape architect, putting in problematic living walls that cost a fortune to keep alive. Working around what's there, I think, would have been a much more smart strategy. But the second thing that is disturbing to me is that you've chosen to work with CPC to put a deadline on this, which basically means if we're rational, we should say no. How could we say yes if you're forcing us in 45 days through CPC's process to make a decision? So we'd have to say no, and then you could say, oh, you want to slow the process down the way we did with Howard Hughes and come back and start working with us in a collaborative way to make that space better for you as investment, the better for us as a community. But for me, forcing as you've done, and Patrick mentioned earlier, we can't agree. We can't agree as community board members to be steamrolled as we were with Howard Hughes, as we were with 250 Water, to say yes, when we've got no time to negotiate and say, how can we make improvements on the space? I think the point of these three-story living walls, they look great. You know, you go down Longwoods Gardens and you see that one, you see what they do, but my goodness me, the maintenance expense that you're incurring to maintain that is going to be large. And I also agree that having that large bar area, what we've seen in Howard Hughes' developments is that John George and everybody else makes these public hallways effectively private. Because if you're not going to sit down and pay $24 for a nice glass of wine, you're going to be moved over. So the other aspect of all this is we're losing not only some architectural features, but we're actually losing box space because of the large stairway, because the bars will become effectively privatized unless you can afford those types of drinks. So for me, and I know there's a lot of preservation issues we're going to be following up, and I have to go, and I can't vote anyway, can I, Patrick?
No,
But for me, when I go to the full board meeting, I would encourage us to say, for all those reasons, but in the process, we need to slow this down. A way to slow it down is to say that. Thanks.
Thanks, Robert. Alice, I'm going to ask Tammy to go first, and then I'll come back to you, and then Joe.
So thank you very much. I appreciate the patience and the time that you've given us thus far. However, I am also a huge person who's going to be really unhappy that you chose to go to DCP even after we asked and after trying to have conversations. I'm also a little frustrated because while the square footage for what you're saying for public space remains the same, or slightly tweaked, public space in terms of public usage of a POPs is not staircases and hallways. And a lot of what is now considered as part of the public space has been transformed in the usage of how you have the POPs as a large additional staircase. A hallway with, even for, if you look at the last slide, it's a giant runway in the center. It is not usable, it is a runway. When you compare that to the original one was so wide with where the columns were and seating around each column that it actually didn't give you the feeling that it was a runway. It gave a feeling of an event space, much like some other large event spaces that have obstructions in it. So I look at the new one, yeah, of course I love a living green wall. I think that's really neat, but it does make me wonder, when I look at the old and I look at the new and I think to myself, was there anything in the old that could have been preserved to show character and history and modernization, and it has so well been done, to find a meeting of the old and the new? There's nothing in the new that shows me that. So I find that sad. And I do hear what people are saying, that whether you like 80s or not, it is part of our history. Whether you had big hair and shoulder pads, that's not my issue, right? But it is part of what it is. So I think that losing all of the history is an issue. I think the columns look like cigarettes, and I think that the roof looks like a cigarette. So when you're looking at that, that entire general area is no longer anything that's inviting. It is just a pass-through. You've moved anything that could be considered as seating around it to really try and make the spaces wider. By removing all of that, you've actually made the thoroughfares wider. And when you look at the diagram of the seating of the spaces, not sit well with me that what we're looking at are massive amounts of giveaways of what was public space for programming through staircases and hallways. And while I know it says, according to the diagrams, that you will be able to have seating right by those stairs going into the lobbies, I challenge that. I doubt that that'll end up happening, and that maybe some security expert comes along, as we've seen through 9/11 and the World Trade Center, and some security expert's going to come along and say, you know what, that's too close to the stairs, it's too close to the entrances, and we don't advise you having seating there. And whether you move those tables somewhere else or not, you know, how many seats, I'm not sure. But so I have concerns about the change from public accessibility and usage and assembly to thoroughfare. And I don't see any changes from the last time you showed us this, other than the addition of a couple tables that I suspect when your security expert comes in beyond the designers, they're gonna say you can't have those there. And the entire usage feels a little bit more like a barrier to me for that one restaurant or whatever you have there. It's going to be awfully hard to imagine that somebody from the public would feel comfortable, pulling up and having a seat if they're not having a beverage. And yet all of those seats are counted as public. So my concerns is a lack of real public assembly space versus walking and trash receptacles.
Can I ask you about that last time, that's appropriate, that last question? Because what you had today, or what you had before, was effectively about the same number of seats. And they were right next to retail, and people sat on them. I guess I'm just
The
gonna.
retail was further back, right? You didn't have that large oval there, and so it was all seating. And the retail was behind the retail wall.
But it's still the same sort of seating and the same sort of proximity to the retail. So I'm just having a little bit of trouble with that. And in particular, one thing that I do think is that if there was retail, people would come, they could buy a sandwich and they'd sit down in those chairs. And that's exactly what we're thinking about doing now, except for actually having a retail that could live sort of throughout the day and serve the community in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening.
When you look at the space that you have, the old and the new restaurant retail space is far more into the public space than the old one was.
Which
It encroaches further in.
Yeah, which may make it more. I understand.
It makes it much better valuable for retail, and I understand that. But my concern is the shrinking of the public accessible space that is used for programming and seating. And the transformation of it from a large open space into hallways, staircases, and restaurant seating.
It's the cold.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And whether any of that could be changed, which is not something you have not heard from me before.
Okay, I want to keep this moving. Alice, you're next, then Gerald, then Richard Corman. You're going to get the last word. We're going to wrap up the comments and questions and move on to consideration of a resolution. Okay? Alice?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask the architects, I'm just curious if in some miracle, unlikely that this would ever be, that it does in fact get landmarked, how would you see improving or not, improving the existing space? Could you see that as doable, and how would you just give us a minute on how you might see that happening?
We're not interested in keeping the existing space.
So you wouldn't take on that job? That would be fire below the belt. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, but it is doable to have upgrade the existing space. Is that accurate to say that?
Yeah. The feedback we've gotten from tenants interested in the space honestly want to completely do away with it, or they're not interested in making a long-term commitment to.
No, I'm
That's the
asking,
feedback we've got.
I'm sorry, I'm not looking for the feedback. I'm asking you as professionals to comment as to whether or not you could renovate the existing space to have,
Alex,
clean it up and make it
that's not the
lighter.
architect speaking.
Okay, well, anyway, that was a question, but I guess I'm not going to answer.
The question is summarized. The question is, if, assuming for the moment that LPC deems it an interior historic landmark, From the architectural point of view, how can we,
That's a hypothetical that we're not considering.
you want to answer the question? Okay, got it. All right, Gerald?
I'm gonna actually go back to.
I'm sorry.
Tammy's conversation.
Patrick, I just wanted to say one other thing. I'm sorry, Patrick. Patrick, sorry. I just want to ask just one policy thing that is probably for you and Tammy. But, I just want to remind everyone, it's just a little difficult, but don't forget that in February, this past February, we passed a resolution with the reference of protecting the interior and exterior landmark, and we supported the Landmark Preservation Commissioning calendaring 60 Wall Street to consider the inside and out with all due urgency. I'm quoting from our resolution. I don't know how we would then be willing to approve a resolution that would contradict this. In other words, there should be somewhere that resolution is identified. In other words, that we would still like to see that Landmark sees it before it gets modified. And that is something I really feel strongly needs to be resolved. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Joe?
Mr. Goodhart passes.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up with, on what Tammy was mentioning earlier. I mean, purely from a pop space, it appears that this retail that's being proposed, correct me if I'm wrong, but by my math, it's gonna be about 5,000 square feet of potential retail, restaurant space or retail, whatever that's going to be. The circulation is going to be another 5,000 square feet of space. And so we're taking 15,000 and dropping it down to roughly 5,000 square feet of pops. The rest of it's becoming either circulation or leasable space, which is no longer considered pops, I would assume. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it appears that the existing retail that's here currently behind the column line, my assumption would be that if this is going to be a restaurant or full service restaurant and or bar, as what it appears in the renderings, then that's going to become kitchen space of some sort. I just want to say that we're losing pop space. We're losing 10,000 square feet of a 15,000 square foot pops.
There it is.
We did the math, it's about 1,800 square feet, and the pop space itself excludes that space. And it's in excess of 13,000 square foot. You've added.
That's not what these plans are showing though, based off of what I'm
I just want to
looking
clarify,
at.
the existing retail is not in the black, it's in the gray hash.
Yep.
The existing retail is.
Part of the covered pedestrian space.
But the black today, the black and the gray hash, the black area on the new design is larger than the existing black area. It's been squared off.
We're losing 6 columns. And by what I can tell, the black area, as Tammy's saying, has been squared off and then the retail has been pushed out halfway between the.
It is a deceiving drawing, and I can explain. It's wrong, but we are still contemplating taking out the columns that are in the center of the retail space. Right, so the columns that are defining the wall of the retail have been removed. Okay, in our configuration, and what is the black wall, the same black wall that you have in the retail.
Okay, I see what you're saying, where what are we gonna call this? The lozenge shaped.
We call it the exedra, yes. Exedra.
The exedra, very good.
The public space is pushed to
All
the
right.
hallways on the sides.
So you guys speaking architect again?
Sorry.
Will it really be an exedra?
Hill shape, sure. So all right, so we're taking out then at least half of that. So all right, so 2,500 square feet at least is going to be lost to now leasable square footage. Still reducing Not to mention then the addition of the circulation space. So we're losing quite a bit of pedestrian public space here. The only other thing I would say is that with the in regards to preservation, and I'll go on record for saying this, I'm not a pure preservationist. At the same time, I have worked in preservation, and I do believe that this space could and certainly should be modernized, maybe even taking it to the next degree of the 80s. I mean, why not add LED lighting and use it for an event, some sort of glow space or something? I have no idea. Either way, I think we're losing a lot of, there are other significant spaces and postmodern spaces that we're currently losing. And it is a shame. I'm in a building where they're redoing both of the postmodern lobbies, and I'll tell you what we're getting is nowhere near what was there. It could have been very inexpensively modernized with just some paint, plants, and new lighting. So that's all. Thanks.
Sure. Richard, informative and very patient. Your turn.
Yes, thank you, Patrick. Appreciate the presentation and, of course, the objectives of the owner and architects. I would say everyone on this committee and in the community board would certainly want to see a viable commercial space and retail space and a thriving public area. There's no doubt we would want to see a successful building. It's important for every reason that's been stated here. But it's very disappointing to me that you didn't recognize several things. One, that this is a unique, extraordinary, iconic space that whether people like it or not, it is decidedly that. And that you didn't recognize that this community board would need to be convinced that that there was no way that this iconic space could be preserved and achieve the objectives that you set out. And you certainly didn't convince me. You didn't make any effort to respect any demonstration that you respected the interior of the space as it currently exists and tried to build something or create something that utilized that and then possibly failed and then had to go to something different. But you certainly didn't make any effort to do that. And so for all the reasons that people have stated, the pushing this through under the compressed time frame, I think the lack of respect for the building and where this community board was very likely to be concerned with, the issues that would be concerned with, I couldn't support this at this time.
Thanks, Richard.
Warren, who was the member of the public who wanted to speak? Alright. So let's see if we can get Mr. Tolbert to figure out how to.
Frampton? Is it?
Frampton Tolbert.
Frampton Tolbert.
If you're able to, executive director for Star District.
Yeah. If you're unable, if you're able to unmute.
I'm gonna open up my mic. Mr. Tolbert, we were going Mr. Tolbert to ask you to unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Frampton Tolbert from the Historic District Council. We did submit a full letter to the board, but just wanted to note that there are advocates here as well this evening. Someone representing Docomomo US as well, as the committee chair said, and just that we are, reiterating our, as a citywide preservation organization, reiterating that our foremost concern is that this process is moving forward, despite the fact that the LPC has determined that 60 Wall Street may merit further consideration, and we really want the Department of City Planning to communicate with the LPC to understand whether the space should be preserved. Besides that, I will not go into the rest of my testimony, except to say that the LPC has already reviewed exterior changes to this and has approved additional lighting improvements on the exterior by changing the configuration of the facade. So that already allows additional light into the space beyond what is there now. But with that, I will cede the rest of my time. And thank you all so much for so thoroughly reviewing this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Tolbert. With that, I see no further questions. So there's one more, I'm sorry, in the attendees. Liz, wait. Liz, if you could unmute.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you. So yes, thank you. Just to follow up from Frampton, I'm Liz Whitetakis. I'm the Executive Director of Docomomo US. I'm also on Community Board 9 Manhattan, and I just respect all of the time and effort that you're putting into this today. Like Frampton, I won't go into my testimony, which has already been submitted, but our organization is a national organization. It's affiliated internationally, and we are the experts on modernism and postmodernism, and whether 60 Wall Street does have enough significance to be designated as a landmark. It was our office that successfully designated the AT&T building, along with UN Plaza and the Ambassador Grill. This interior space is now well respected by the architectural community. And I think what's so interesting to me is all of the emails that I get from people outside of the architectural community saying how much they love the interiors. I get emails all the time from artists, filmmakers, fashion designers, asking me directly who they can call to host an event in the space. I think it would be a total shame to lose all of that uniqueness. And over time, just like the Empire State Building or earlier examples of architecture, I think it will grow on all of us over time if we have the ability to save it. So I'll save the rest of my comments for the letter that I submitted. And again, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else? Great. Seeing no others, now let's move on to the consideration of the resolution. Thank you to the presenters. You can feel free to sit down if you want and stand up for quite a while.
I will also say the letters are online. Materials for anybody who would like to read the full testimony. Both letters provided by the developer for their support letters from the Downtown Alliance and others, neighboring society, as well as the historic groups, are all online.
And certainly for folks reviewing this video ahead of the full board meeting, in consideration of resolution we're about to adopt, because of that resource. Otherwise, folks in the committee, you got to read quickly because we have to vote right now. So it's a land use consideration. Our community board recommendations, just as a reminder, are usually a yes with conditions, a no with conditions, or a no. That's the spectrum in which we're on. So I sensed a lot of varying degrees of where people might fall on that spectrum. So I thought we might just kind of go around and do a straw poll. Just quick show of hands, including those online. Alice, maybe just take your hand down if you can hear me, and then raise it at the moment at which I think you know, but maybe you can't hear. There you go. So just going around the room, who here would be a straight yes? Okay.
Can you clarify the yes?
Yes is just yes. This is awesome. No changes, nothing needed. Let's go. To the current proposal. Okay. So it's one. How about a yes with conditions? Okay, there's two more. How about a no with conditions? Okay. And straight no? One. We're missing a lot of votes here.
I think you put your hand down there, you know, the no with condition.
There's also two on.
What does no with conditions mean? Like what? Explain that.
Yeah, so, so I was tricky with yes, to distinguish between yes, the conditions and the no, and I've tried to use this analogy with like having a teenager before where you ask, they can borrow a car, just say yes, as long as you do your homework, make your bed.
Right.
et cetera.
I get the yes with conditions.
And the no with conditions, which is effectively the same thing, that you're expressing that you don't like this idea and this is not something you're interested in doing. However, if the applicant can meet all of these conditions, you'd be willing to offer approval. It is effectively the same thing at the end of the day, as best we can tell, but it's definitely an expression of displeasure with the application and no with conditions. So I'm only sounding like
So
it's a no unless.
I felt like a little weight towards no, from what I could tell, right?
Felt definitely a weight toward a no, but I can't tell if that's with the conditions or straight no. So
What about our previous resolution on this?
no.
our previous resolutions were related to having, to supporting the council members' effort to have the Landmarks Preservation Commission consider the interior, and to review it for, status as potentially being landmarked. So it didn't really relate to the applications before, so the actual designs, which we haven't seen at that point.
But the only part that it does relate to is the fact that the ownership has represented that they have no desire to retain what the community board has asked for in landmark status. So, and so depending on where you stand, it's a no. If we stand 100% on what we've said before, or you could do a no unless and ask them to wait for LPC, work with LPC, come back with a different thing.
Consider our past resolutions.
Considering our past resolutions, consider the.
And I said earlier, I would probably abstain on this, but I'd be persuaded to a no with conditions on that. Again, I like the idea of enlivening the space, but I think Roger's point earlier about slowing the process down, and I am particularly annoyed with the fact that we're having such a shortened review period of this, so but I'm not gonna vote no out of spite either, like, that's not fair to the applicant and the project or the community. So, I'd be persuaded with the no condition of the sort of conditions are such that they're be given no review time. I'd even say, let LPC have its.
I think a no, I think the request to ask them to wait and go through an LPC process is fair because it matches what we've done before. LPC has shown a willingness to work with them on what we've seen on the exterior for look at harmonious relationship to come up with a really good compromise that enlivened the outside, got a more modernization, but made it contextual and a harmonious relationship with the others. Was it everything? No, but like I had said many times before, it was a compromise that not everyone was really happy, which is a good one. I think if that were to happen here, we could have some preservation and some modern and make that work, then that would be great. Unfortunately, we don't have the opportunity due to the timeline, which is why I still don't know.
So we I would point out from Alice's perspective, not to speak for Alice, but that was one of her conditions expressed that she'd asked.
You know, somebody mentioned the AT&T building. Now, any of you who saw the original lobby, you probably saw the best lobby in New York City. Now the lobby is just a retail joint with a well-named restaurant. That's what I'm afraid of here. I mean, I have pictures of that lobby that it was magnificent. Now what do they have? They change the entrance, they put the racks in the window with clothes on.
But as I heard the testimony, isn't that being offered as an example of a great preservation?
Yeah,
Yeah, not to me. You should have seen it. I'll bring some pictures and you'll see.
Okay, so it sounds like no with conditions.
So it sounds like no with conditions, the main condition being that the LPC, that the applicant, that the CPC not consider the application. That's what we requested. We previously supported, and then we would, again, refer back to our prior resolutions and approve copies of them. Are there other conditions that, folks, I'm right at yours, because you had a number of them I thought were pretty helpful in terms of the restriction of the space, and I think that's one of the things you were touching on, Tammy.
That the bathrooms are more accessible and clear, that you don't have to go through a side back door hallway to get to them. That
But the one escalator
I would urge
question,
you. Exactly, that the escalators remain at 2 in number. And hopefully the building does get full up again, and you will definitely require both. That the, let's see. Sorry. That work through these minutes. I am concerned about the privatized nature of the seating area that is related to the Hillshades, and that it discourages, it actively, visually, psychologically discourages use of that seating area, which does take into the space of the overall footprint of what we thought was public space. We would like to see those rocks kept if that's possible. Let's see. That the seating be more spaced out and generous rather than just sort of squished together as it seems to be in this new plan.
I like the point about the diversity of spaces.
Sorry?
I liked the point about the diversity of spaces.
Yeah.
More spaced out in,
I add one as well.
Nita.
of course, please, Alex.
Sorry, first of all,
And-
I've got to go in like 5 minutes, so I don't know if I can vote now. But sorry, now I've
Alice?
lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah, sorry, I just wanted to say that we also spoke about having more than one retail. Now, we were told originally in a leadership meeting that there was going to be only one retail owner or lessee in that Exedra. But that there should be multiple opportunities for multiple merchants to use that space. That I think should also be part of, or any of, not that space, but that there should be multiple people that are able to use the space in terms of whatever stores are going to be finally agreed to there. And I think that is in the original points of agreement of the not points of agreement, of the original zoning. But anyway, more than one single retail establishment, I think was something we raised.
Right, so we're at 7 conditions right now. Are we,
The Pine Street entry was incredibly mean. It is currently mean, but it remains mean.
mean or mean?
Mean, it's incredibly dark, narrow, uninviting, and it looks like it remains good here in the plan.
So the Pine Street entrance be,
For reference,
Nice.
this is it.
what would be the right word?
And we also spoke
To make it opposite. Well,
we also spoke about the wanting of more trees, more green space at the, what exists now as green space that actually is wonderful at the lower level where you're sitting, and then they have the tall trees. And that, I think Laura was alluding to, having more than just a single green wall as the one landscape green feature, that we should have much more green in the space.
And I would actually like to just add on to that I agree 100%. I mean, we've mentioned the Ford Foundation a lot of times in the discussion tonight. And I think that anybody who's been in that space recently will say that it is a really gorgeous interior space. And if there is any ability to have something that is as impactful in its greenery, that would be a very, very welcome amenity into our public space that's all weather.
Yeah, I also want to
would
add,
like to-
I think people, yeah. I just want to also say that along with the landscaping of the point on the fountains, that the existing 4 fountains with the sculptural walls that are quite wonderful, that somehow that somehow be the sense of that and having the multiple, more than two, was also seemed like a fair point to raise. The two sort of somewhat respectfully bland pools would, would not be the only features that would be offered back to the community. Remember, we're looking at community benefits here, that they have to be more or at least equal to what we have now. And that we would say the water features are not. So to please add that. Also, just for everyone's knowledge, the spaces referred to at the Ford Foundation is by the same architects, Roche and Dinkeloo, who did 60 Wall Street.
The lack of reference or respect for the original design and some of the better features of the original design.
Which included a more usable public space in terms of programming versus staircases and hallways.
Just with that, which included, this is a wonderful event space.
Usable public realm space for programming versus staircases and hallways connecting.
I like the move to lift up the sides and to get more light in.
That was great.
I mean, I think that was really smart.
Okay.
That was approved with the exterior, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Part of the CPF.
Yeah, the exterior
With
was
those
approved.
11 conditions.
Call
With
the
those 11
question.
conditions, I'm not going to repeat them all.
Second.
All those in favor of the resolution as we've just gone through it? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
One opposed?
Okay.
Any recusals? Alice, you're voting in favor of the resolution, or you're recusing?
Alice, camera on.
It's
No,
on.
That's it, yep.
It's a yes vote. Thank you.
I vote yes too.
Yes to no to the modifications with these conditions.
Yes, I'm voting no with conditions.
Right.
Motion's hearing none, motion passes. All right.
Yay. Okay.
Sorry. We have one more.
Thank you,
We're gonna let-
bye.
I'm gonna encourage Patrick and make no conversations today. I will send out links with everybody, but we do need to hear the Fulton Stall Market update for their summer on where they are. Consequently, the conversation is they have been looking at the cobblestone areas of Fulton Street. So it is really important that you allow them to talk tonight to balance the conversations that we had in the beginning.
Okay, but we're not doing a resolution.
We are not.
We are not.
So Stephen or Bob, are you with us?
Bob is there.
Yes, Bob is here.
Thank you, Lauren.
Does anyone need a drink?
Okay, Bob.
All right,
Wait
Bob,
a-
you're on.
I do.
Popcorn, Tammy.
Are we
I'll go
good?
fall on the ground and raise you.
I'm talking executive budget for snacks. Keep
Okay.
going.
Go ahead, Bob.
Well, hello, Tammy, Patrick.
Bob, please give us.
Say again? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can, go ahead.
Testing. Yes?
Bob, we hear you.
Okay, well, hello, Tammy, Patrick, and I guess there's some feedback here. I don't know. In any case, good evening. My name is Bob Lewis. I'm a board member and public market advisor for the nonprofit Fulton Stall Market, actually the Fulton Market Association, Inc., which, as you know from our previous appearances here, has operated the Fulton Stall Market at the Seaport for the Lower Manhattan community since 2015, continuously. My colleague Steve Dima is also online, but I am speaking tonight. Thank you for your multiple resolutions over the past several years in support of our market as a valuable asset to the Seaport and Lower Manhattan. and thank you for the opportunity to update you about the market and its current activities and current challenges to its continuation. As a brief summary of what's happening, we are currently operating the indoor farmers market at 91 South Street, Monday through Saturday, year-round. Our CSA program, in its 25th season, known as the Farm Share Program. Our Meet the Farmer and Chef program for New York City schools in collaboration with New York City DOE, their Farm to School program, and our Satellite Youth Farmers Market at 50 Madison Street in collaboration with Hamilton Madison House, which serves the Two Bridges neighborhood every Sunday, May through mid-December. So we are involved not only in the Seaport, Lower Manhattan, serving the community, FiDi, and adjacent, but we are also heavily involved in supporting food access in Two Bridges. Apropos, we are administering a New York State, New York Food for New York Families grant in the Al Smith houses with support from the Residents Association that will provide healthy local fresh fruits and vegetables to all households in the Al Smith houses as a nutritional benefit and an incentive to use our Sunday Youth Market, which accepts SNAP EBT, New York State Health Bucks, New York City Health Bucks, New York State WIC and Farmers Market coupons, as well as cash and credit debit cards for affordable, fresh, healthy, organic local produce. This is an ongoing commitment, not only to the Seaport, but to all of Lower Manhattan. Unfortunately, however, one of our longtime programs is not able to operate. Our Saturday outdoor farmers market on Fulton Street between South and Front Street, which has enlivened the Seaport since 2015 with support from Howard Hughes until October of last year, serving the community and 15 to 20 local farmers and independent, small-scale, minority and women-owned food businesses who comprise this unique market and grow their businesses due to it. The Saturday outdoor market is not operating now due to Howard Hughes's request last October, following its opening of the Tin Building, that in the future we must apply to EDC to operate the market under EDC's Cobblestone Streets Permit Program, even though we have operated it successfully since 2015 with Howard Hughes's support to benefit the Seaport community and the farmers and producers. We naturally complied with Howard Hughes's request and applied to EDC initially last October when the market was nearly over for the year, and again on May 1 of this year to operate the Saturday outdoor market June through November at the same location used successfully since 2019, the pedestrianized section of Fulton Street between Front and South Streets. Upon applying, we were told by EDC that both Howard Hughes and the Seaport Museum would be contacted by DDC and that their support would be necessary. EDC recently rejected our Cobblestone Streets application for this site, explaining that construction will be occurring there and offering alternatives. One, Front Street between Fulton and Beekman, Water Street between Fulton and Beekman, and the sidewalk in front of the vacant former Abercrombie and Superfine stores. We replied to EDC that we will not be reapplying for any of these sites, as in comparison to the market's accustomed location on Fulton Street, they are devoid of foot traffic and have all proven to be unsuccessful for the market in the past, resulting in the market eventually moving to the Fulton and South Street cobblestones, where it has thrived since 2019, with the exception of 2020, of course, when we operated, but not the outdoor market for the community. We requested that EDC reconsider our application for the Fulton Street location, as relocating the market to any of the alternative sites will result in its failure. We said, quote, successful markets like the Saturday outdoor market and green markets cannot be relocated away from the locations where they have succeeded to places that lack community activity and be expected to remain successful. We asked EDC for details about the timing and the duration of the proposed construction they referenced. As construction and a temporary kiosk seem to be on tonight's agenda, We indicated to EDC that with short-term construction, a pop-up or both, the outdoor market could occupy the street with colorful activity following the construction and also co-locate for mutual benefit. Local residents have been asking us where the Saturday outdoor market has gone. Our farmers and producers, including those who testified to the board at previous meetings in great numbers, want to participate as they have in the past. We ask that the board support our request that EDC recognize the value of the Saturday outdoor market and work with HHC, with ourselves and the community immediately to ensure the market is supported at its accustomed site or at another high foot traffic area and can reopen by National Farmers Market Week in August or sooner. It should have opened early June. Speaking of high traffic sites, the outdoor market could actually operate right now in front of the Tin Building in the underutilized sheltered space beneath the FDR Drive between the bike path and the steps. Such a location would emulate well-known successful public markets like the Eastern Market in Washington, D.C., and the Ferry Terminal Market in San Francisco, where the once-a-week outdoor market on Saturdays is co-located adjacent to the market building for the mutual benefit of both, attracting many tourists as well as locals for an exciting indoor and outdoor market experience. We have long stated that the Tin Building and Fulton Stall Market complement one another. While some may think this vision would be dismissed out of hand, we believe it would be a major home run for the Seaport and for HHC. While the outdoor market issue is an immediate one, we also want to update the board very briefly on the future status of the Fulton Stall Market in the Transflux building as a permanent home for the market, now at 91 South Street. As you may recall, under a 2020 sole source lease for this New York City-owned property to HHC, the Fulton Stall Market was allocated a 3,500 square foot area in the rear of the building along Water Street, with the remainder of the building allocated for pop-up use by HHC. Since the beginning of 2022, we have engaged in a constructive dialogue with EDC and HHC, facilitated by Councilmember Chris Marte and his Land Use Director Connor Allerton, on our proposal, once explored by HHC indeed, and more recently supported by 2 CB1 resolutions for the development of the first and second floors of the Transflux building as a 10,000 square foot multi-farmer Seaport public market with expanded local food and nutrition programming, including a nutrition education center and teaching kitchen that would become the future home of the Fulton Stall Market, which is currently operating at 91 South Street without the security of an HHC lease or license. EDC has offered us the opportunity of submitting a capital budget proposal for renovation of a portion of this building, the Transflux that is, and we intend to submit a proposal shortly, including a term sheet, budget, and an architectural concept for a full-scale market, as we have long proposed. We are hopeful that City Hall's strong interest in expanding and teaching about healthy plant-based foods might cause EDC to finally see a great opportunity here. We would appreciate the board's continued support for this exciting full-scale project, which would secure an expanded permanent home for the market and its community programs, while enabling it to activate an underdeveloped area of the Seaport for the community that was indeed the justification of the sole source lease to HHC. I've tried to be brief, and thank you for your interest and support, and we really appreciate the opportunity to update you.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it. And I think it's pretty safe to say that you have the ask, which is the continued support of the community board. So thanks for the update, and we'll continue to see how things go.
Bob, can you explain one thing? Why not take a temporary position on Fulton now to be able to get the Saturday market going, even if it's closer to Water Street, just to get it done for the year?
Tammy, I wish it was that simple. You know, markets really are difficult to relocate. And that location, Tammy, we have been there, we have seen it, we know it's deserted. It is deserted. I don't know if you have seen how deserted it is, but it is simply something that would be going backward. In fact, we really need to go forward. I know that we are in dialogue with both EDC and Councilmember Marte's office. I am looking forward to some kind of compromise here. I do believe what I said earlier regarding the timing of this and the ability to co-locate, even with a kiosk. I don't see the kiosk happening right now based on what I've heard tonight. But you know, we have co-located last year with the Howard Hughes pumpkin display, which actually was greatly enhanced by the market. So I do believe in synergy, and I believe that, as we all have seen, being the founder of Green Market in 1976 in New York City, just how much markets can do when they are properly sited, how much stimulation they create for the community, how much actually they can be championed indeed by all sectors and provide so many benefits. So I'd have to say that would not be a successful thing for us to do. I'm afraid the farmers and producers would simply lack for the foot traffic that they are accustomed to in the concentrated Fulton and South Street zone, where we have operated since 2019. And I would not really personally would like to go and try to sell that to them, because I know they would say, no, we're not going back to a place that we failed to capture, the foot traffic because there wasn't any foot traffic. So I'm sorry, but that's my answer.
All right, thanks, Bob. Appreciate the insight and the update. Keep on keeping on and keep us surprised.
Thank you very
Appreciate the
much, Bob.
opportunity. And come visit us.
I'll third that. And
Motion to adjourn.
yeah, just quickly, folks, I just passed out a hard copy of our last year budget requests.
For 2024.
Sorry, draft, even better, draft this year's budget requests. Wait,
So.
oh, it's fiscal 2024.
Right, this is what we approved last year for fiscal year 2024 for the three agencies that are almost always under land use, which is EDC, ECP, and DOP. And then what we are planning on is for budget 2025. We have to submit that.
Here's what I'd like folks to do. For our meeting in September, if you could really take a hard look at this list. If there's something missing, email me. If there's something that needs to come off the list, email me. And then we'll discuss it publicly, because we need to have that discussion publicly at our September meeting. And we'll come up with a final list, okay? Yes, President.
I can't log in. I've tried, I've, sent in requests for access to these budgets, and I do not have the ability to get in there to even look at them. And I've done that for the two of the committees that I.
That was one solution.
I will help gatekeep them.
Are you?
Well, you mean gate open because
Yeah,
there's no, you can't get in there.
It depends on how we roll. Yeah, we figured that out this year.
Okay.
Liable to be for a pizza budget.
And that's something that we need.
How about that?
Patrick, are we adjourned?
Yes, we're doing.
Sorry, Mom.
Come on, you want to say?
Thanks, everybody.
That's it.